Rotterdam's got the biggest port in Europe and is home to lots of international companies. Plus, RSM has a dedicated career center that will help you put your best foot forward in the job market. The city is also perfect for...
check whether they or whether they have registered, or do you just like wait anyone in basically?
Students, you get to know about different cultures, go to festivals, sport events, and hang out at great places. When you have finished your IBA studies, you may have a friend working in marketing in the US, or finance in China, or maybe logistics in the UK.
On stage, or should I stay here in the
so you can get started,
I asked him for
well,
tips.
anywhere. Are you ready for business?
The next course is
Study IBA at RSM. So business is awesome, right? You can almost picture it. Working for an international company, or even starting your own. Maybe where you live now, or around the world. It could be anywhere. The possibilities are endless. But how do you make this happen? Well, study International Business Administration in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University, is one of the top business schools in Europe, whose mission is to be a force for positive change. One of the first business schools to formally adopt the UN 17 Sustainable Development Goals as part of the curriculum, ensuring that the next generation of business leaders are driven to be part of the solution when it comes to facing our global challenges. And the best of all, it's affordable. IBA is a 3-year bachelor program. You'll follow courses and work on projects with students from all over the world. The study program is fully in English, but learning Dutch is a great way to integrate into the Dutch culture and work environment. You'll learn how to write business plans for real companies, research international markets, and negotiate with people from other countries. Deal. And internships? No problem. Rotterdam's got the biggest port in Europe and is home to lots of international companies. Plus, RSM has a dedicated career center that will help you put your best foot forward in the job market. The city is also perfect for not studying. Together with other students, you get to know about different cultures, go to festivals, sport events, and hang out at great places. When you have finished your IBA studies, you may have a friend working in marketing in the US, or finance in China, or maybe logistics in the UK. So you can get started, well, anywhere. Are you ready for business? Study IBA at RSM.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome at Erasmus University and a very special welcome at Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University, the business school of Erasmus University. I'm Luc Velenturf. I'm the academic director of our bachelor programs, both the bedrijfskunde and the IBA program. And today I'm here to present to you the IBA program. We always use the short name, International Business Administration. We always say IBA. And I'm not alone. I also have a student, Tom, with me. He's a second-year student in our program. And he's also here to explain a little bit on how he experienced the program last year as a first-year student. And he's maybe also here to answer some of your questions. But there are many more students of IBA here in the room or outside the room where you can address your questions afterward. So what will the program look like? So I'll first start maybe with the end goal. So where can IBA take you? You have maybe already seen something in the video, but we start there, then we dive into details. What is the content of the program? So I'll explain the content of the program together with Tom. I will tell you a little bit about the learning environment at RSM, and of course, the question you might have had, is IBA the right fit for me, yes or no? And when time permits, there is some time for questions. Where can IBA take you? In general, what we want to learn our students is to become global citizens, to become really international business students. So what can that be? It can be that after studying IBA, you will become a global consultant or analyst, taking data-driven decisions at those big multinational companies all around the world or in the Netherlands. Or maybe you want to specialize. You want to have an international marketing or operations career. You can be a specialist in marketing or operations. That's my domain. You optimize the supply chains of these big multinationals. Or maybe you say, I'm marketing operations, that's not what I like the finance industry. And maybe you want to become a finance specialist or even a sustainability and impact advocate, and to make sustainable investments all around the world. These are potential jobs you can do in the future after taking the IBA program. But what is this? How does this program look like? I will first briefly go over the 3 years and then we will dive into details. So the first 2 years, the IBA program focuses on the different functional departments in a company. And you see a lot of them here, like marketing, I already mentioned them, operations, supply chain, but also innovation, IT, data management is getting more and more important. Human resources, there is no business without people, not yet, and hopefully it will also be like that people still stay important. All the functional department, but of course also as the business as a whole, and how the business takes its part into society. So that's in the middle, the strategy and management part. There's always the business is in a certain context, in a global context. The courses are like this in the first 2 years, and then in your 3rd year, you know what you like. In the 3rd year, you can explore and specialize yourselves in the topics you like, in which you want to have your future career. So there are a lot of opportunities in the 3rd year. I will show the details later. So this is our program, first 2 years of courses around business and 3rd year specialization. How does that first year look like? Now, as said, we have, of all functional departments, we have a course in the first year. And we also have courses of the business in context. So if we look at some examples, these are not all courses, you have introduction to business, so business as a whole, business in society. But you also see these functional courses like finance, marketing, operations management, organizational behavior, HRM related. And you also see some different courses in this list. You see philosophy of science. Yes, we are a scientific program. That means we also learn you science, on how to do science. So be aware, those are not on the slides, not always the most popular courses, but science also means you need to have quantitative background. So it also means we learn you math, statistics. Without statistics, you cannot do proper decision making in business, but also not in science. I will not talk about strategic business plan, since I have Tom doing that. But maybe it's also good to mention, since that's also not listed on the course example, that in the first year, because you see here a lot of students, and if you look at the whole IBA cohort, it means this full room is full with students. So it's a very big program. But of course, we also offer small-scale activities, and especially in your personal development and professional development in year 1 and the mentoring, we make sure that in small groups of 20 students, you get the attention you need and the mentoring. Strategic business plan. Tom, what can you say about that?
So before telling you a bit about strategic business plan, I'm Tom Danziger. I'm 19 years old, originally from Hamburg, Germany. I did an exchange in Vancouver, Canada, and now I'm studying here in my 2nd year IBA. So I've just gone through all these courses that Luke mentioned, and we're going to now zoom into a strategic business plan. It's a really special course in the IBA program because, in my opinion, because of the team collaboration. The course doesn't have any exams, so you just have 3 assignments and 1 final report over the course of 1 semester. So you bond closely with your team because you have a lot of assignments to do, a lot of work to do. You do group brainstorming exercises, you collaborate on interviews, you split writing tasks, so you bond closely with your team, you spend a lot of time with your team, which is, I think, really important in this course to get to know your team better. And of course, because you put your knowledge to the test. The course is really special because you work with an individual company closely together. You and your team reach out to companies to collaborate with them, and once you have a company selected, the real fun begins, because now you're going to dive deeply into all these business functions that you have. You're going to look at financial statements, internal strategic reports, other internal documents. You can talk to CFOs, CEOs, CMOs, anyone you can get your hands on, and of course, an external research to find out the most you can about the company and its environment. And all this knowledge that you've then gathered, you put in the 3 assignments and the final report, which the idea behind all of this is to give strategic insight and strategic advice to the company of your choice. My team and I, we had 3 Spanish-speaking people and 1 Swiss guy and me, German, so we had 3 nationalities in our team, and we chose the company Gastronomic, as you can see here, which was a Spanish catering company. And we had a lot of fun talking with the CEO of this company, and we had a lot of fun working together on these assignments. And once you're done with one of these 3 assignments, there's a seminar where you and other teams present your findings and get feedback from the other teams, and of course a teaching assistant, and how to improve your next assignment so you can really improve the insight you're giving the company in the final report. And after all of this has wrapped up, you sum it all these three assignments up into the final report, which you're going to send to the company, where you give real insight, real strategic advice of what the company can do better and maybe what they're already doing all right. And I would love to show you more how much fun my team and I had, but when making this presentation, I found out that we did not take a single photo. So you just have to take my word for it, and these are some pictures of me studying alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And yes, there's also a lot of fun activities, and hopefully you can make pictures of it in the future. It's nice that you can already give strategic advice to companies in your first year. I also have to be a bit serious about the first year, but this applies to all studies at Erasmus University Rotterdam. And that is that we have the most strict binding study advice in the Netherlands. Our vision is that we offer a 3-year program, and you should also do the program in 3 years. That we also want really to enforce you or to help you also to achieve that, to study in 3 years. That means that we have very strict rules on your performance in your first year. Like, we expect from you that you finish all your first year courses in year 1. Of course, if you fail an exam, there's a resit opportunity. We make sure that sometimes courses are not only graded by an exam, and we just saw an example of a course which only is done by group work, but also teachers help you in motivating you to study not the day just before the exam, but also during the weeks. Since there's a lot of freedom here, actually, since we don't check your homework, etc., since you have to plan yourself. But they help you by bonus tests, etc., and motivate you there. I think if you study in this program, you have to motivate yourself, you have to plan, but be aware most of you are able to do so. If I see how many of the students in IBA reach this after 1 year, it's above 90%. So it's really above something like 94% last year. So that is huge. So I think it's not like a thing which is too difficult to do. And of course, we also offer help, and we also take personal circumstances into account. So whenever there's something, if you cannot do an exam because you have to be in hospital or you do top sport or whatever reasons there are, we will help you, and we also say, okay, then we understand that you do not meet these criteria, and we can still let you go through the program in year 2, and that you take a little bit longer. You have a mentor which will help you with this. You have student advisors. So always, whenever something doesn't go like planned, it's very easy to reach one of our student advisors. You will pass year 1. And then year 2, we actually do a bit the same as year 1, but then we are deepening your knowledge. Since we have a lot of courses, again, which are related to these functional departments and to the more strategic business part. So in year 2, we see similar courses. In year 1, we had finance. In year 2, we have corporate finance. We also look a little bit at law, and etc. 2 courses which I want to highlight. One is a nice one because we collaborate with the TU Delft on that one. Technology is becoming more and more important in the world. So also, what does it mean for business? So we have a course, Technology Management, which is a joint course together with students from TU Delft. And we have a course, Business Simulation, and that will start in January. And that course is a nice course because that's the only course in that period, more or less. You still have to do another assignment, but it's more or less a single course in a period of 4 weeks, in which every day with your team, you have to make business decisions in a simulation game. And there's also a little bit of competition with others, so you play like you are with your team managing a business. Then in year 3, you can choose what you like. So there's really a lot of freedom. You can decide how to broaden your horizon or deepen your knowledge. You can go on exchange. A lot of students go on exchange to one of our partner schools worldwide. Others like it to do an internship at a company. And others like to stay here at Erasmus University and they do a minor. And minors are organized by Erasmus University, TU Delft and Leiden. So we have really a broad mix of minors you can pick. And you can pick more or less whatever you like, except, or with the exception that it has to be related to our business program. But that can be very broad, right? Like if you want to study psychology, that is also very relevant for business, like in the human resource management or in marketing, etc. So if you want to specialize yourself on that, that is possible. This is the first half year. That is 30 ECTS. 1 year is 60 ECTS. So the first half year, it's up to you. What do you want? How do you want to specialize? And in the second year, the second half of the year, you still have some mandatory courses, which is for the whole population, but still you also can specialize there with 3 tracks. Some examples of electives: digital business, macroeconomics, organizational behavior. Electives are hosted by RSM, so they're really focused on business. As you see, minors are more broad. These tracks, you can choose 3 tracks, and you see the asterisks, and I think you cannot read, I cannot read what is below, but it says it can change once in a while, right? So we want to have these tracks around emerging topics or important topics, and I think then it would have been 4 years ago. If I was here, I think nobody thought that we were going to have a track which was called AI for a connected world. But AI has changed business, etc. So now we also think, this is a relevant topic and we should have a specialization track around this. And the courses you all have to follow are more related to the research skills. So you see advanced research skills, method master classes, so methodology, which you need for your bachelor project. And bachelor project is your final project. In some other universities, other bachelor programs, they have the bachelor thesis. For us, it's a project, since it's a joint group project. And also very interesting is the course International Business the Dutch Way. We learn you 2 years about international business, about the global business, etc. But what is the role of the Netherlands in global business? Like, how do we do it in the Netherlands? We go back into history. Why has international business been such an important? Why did it play an important role in the Netherlands? We have been a pivoting role. Why it's still an important role? Sorry, apologies. Why is the Netherlands still playing an important role in this? And I think what you will see is that also we have a lot of students from different nationalities, also to get to know a bit the Dutch business culture. These are our exchange options. We have almost 200 places where you can go to for your exchange, and around 400 students go every year on exchange. In Europe, these are the most popular ones, but some others go even wider. They go to the US, they go to Singapore, etc. So this is really popular to go on exchange. It could be that you want to specialize in a different way. Like I just shown you the ways how you can specialize within your program, but maybe you even want to do some extra things next to the program. And that is that we offer a double degree with philosophy. And today there's also a session about that if you are interested in it. How you can do that and what it means. But that you will do in your second year, so that you will do that in your second year next to the regular program. Another thing you can do in the second year is the honors program. It's an honors program, so it's also selective. So it's not like everyone is admitted to it, a limited number of places. It's a selective thing, what you can do. But you can also do things in your first year, and Tom will explain what he did in his first year.
Yeah, not to take away from the fun that, of course, a strategic business plan is, and all the other courses that Luke outlined, there's other things that you can do in your first year. I would group them into 3 different categories. First, we have the academic and career-focused extracurriculars or clubs or associations. One big example there is the RSM Star Case Club. I'm a member of this. I joined this January. And the Case Club is a group or association where you train on weekends to solve cases for companies, so strategic issues companies are facing under time constraints, so like 12 to 24 hours, depending on the setting. And then you present your findings, and it's in a competition setting. So you can compete in internal competitions here in Rotterdam at the university, but also international competitions. And actually right now there's a team of RSM students in Bangkok, Thailand, representing RSM at an international competition there. And in 3 weeks, another team is going to Mexico to represent RSM at a competition there. So that's something to really look forward to or really look into, because it's a great opportunity to have a more diverse view outside the academic curriculum. Aside from that, of course, you can also do sports at the university. There's many different sport associations. I played field hockey in the past, so I joined the Nevertheless Field Hockey Association, where we played on Monday evenings to get some of that energy out that builds up when you always sit in the library and read your books, of course. And it's a lot of fun. But if you don't play field hockey, you can always do other things. There's swimming associations, paddle, volleyball, tennis. So for anyone, there's the sport association here at on campus. Additionally, there's also social associations. Mainly there's STAR, which is responsible for everything RSM related. So you can join a committee there to organize events and trips. But there's also other associations such as ESN, who host parties every Tuesday evening. So that's a lot of fun. To mention something about STAR, there was a STAR Freshman Weekend, which I joined last year. I think it's also this year, and it's also going to be next year, I assume. Where I got to know a lot of new people. So most of my friends I actually met on this weekend, so it was a great opportunity to make some connections, because I obviously didn't know anyone here yet. And the picture beneath that is me on the Star ski trip, where we went to France for 7 days in January. So yeah, that's something to really look forward to when you're studying, because I think the bachelor years are not only about academic stuff, but also about the stuff that's happening around it. And meeting new people and making friends obviously cannot only happen in the classroom. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and great that you at least have there a picture of yourself doing the fun activity. The learning environment at RSM. It's always a bit difficult to say about yourself, but yeah, we are a top business school in Europe and in the world, and we are well known for that. So yes, if you choose to study at RSM, you can make use of our network and our connections, etc. And these things, like in RSM Case Club, we are there also well known for our performance at these case clubs. We are truly international. Since maybe, I think, because we are hosting this here in this room, I can do a small check. So who is here from the Netherlands? Only the prospective students and not the parents or whatever. And who is not from the Netherlands here? Ah, this is nice already to see. So this is almost 50-50, but in the program it's even that there is way more than 50% of the students are international. And we have 50 nationalities. So it's not just a program which is taught in English. No, it's an international program with a lot of different nationalities, a lot of different cultures. And I think that is really special about the program. We bridge theory and practice, and Tom already explained that even in your first year, you're already going to apply what you learn in the class at a company. And what helps with our reputation is that we also have top scholars. We have top scientists at our school. We have people all around the world who want to work at RSM, who want to do research at RSM, but also want to teach at RSM. The nice thing about these researchers is that they do research, they have new findings, find new ways to do marketing or to do finance, etc. And what they have found out, they directly apply in the class, so directly bring that to you. So you have the newest knowledge and the newest skills. So there we also have now these courses around AI. We have researchers in that. We have even researchers in education on how should we apply it to education there. Our mission is to be a force for positive change. So we're one of the first business schools which adopted all these United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And I think it's important that what you see at the bottom, that We strongly believe that business can and should play an important role in addressing these big challenges in the world. And you, and then I talk to the students and not the parents, but you are the next generation of leaders in this business, and you can make a change. We have a dedicated career center which can help you all around during your studies. For example, they have workshops, they have mentoring sessions, but what they can also do is help you to get to an internship. If you say, I don't want to go on exchange, maybe you want to go on an internship to a company, they can help you with that as well. Student support and well-being, that's the same for the whole Erasmus University, so everything what you see on this slide is the same for Erasmus University, except that I want to mention that our student advisors, they are RSM specific. So we have really dedicated RSM student advisors who can help you, who can point you in the right way, who can advise you where to go, etc. And they know what you are studying, they know the program, they know the teachers, and they can interact with them. But you have a pre-academic program. Before you start your bachelor, you can already start and you get experience on how do you prepare for a study. Eureka Week, I think wherever you are going to study in the Netherlands, you have these introduction weeks to get to know the city, all student associations and the sport associations, and the study itself. Please join that. Wherever you go, I think this is a very important week for you to discover what am I going to do, where am I going to study, and what can I do next to this. The third one is for the internationals in the room. We have one-stop shops where we help you with arranging all admin processes, arranging a health insurance, bank account, and all that stuff you have to do if you want to live abroad. That's organized by the university, and that's, let's say, a one-stop shop means one place where you can do all these things together at once. We have an student well-being platform and Save at So we really have, so Save at is if something happens, then you can go there and they will help you. But of course, we try to prevent that things happen, so we have a well-being platform where we can help you in case of stress, mental health issues, etc. Is IBA the right fit for you? So you should ask yourself, do you want to study in a multicultural environment? So even, since I saw there were also a lot of people from the Netherlands, so even if you don't go internationally, here you will get the international experience because, as said, more than half is international. As Tom was saying, you work with groups with different cultures. We actually will make sure that you will get different groups all the time, so that you are not, maybe sometimes take the easy way and take the ones with the same nationality. No, we really want you to experience the different nationalities and different cultures. Do you want to work internationally? Do you have the global mindset? You want to work at a multinational company in the Netherlands or maybe even international? Or you want to work at the NGO internationally? Do you like these extracurricular activities we offer? And then you should ask yourself, are you good in time management? Since, yes, as I said, this is different. You get a lot of freedom. You have to manage your own time. You have to plan yourself. That's a lot of studies at universities. It's not that we give you homework and we check your homework. Yeah, we give you homework, but just assume you do it. Are you a motivated learner who excels among goal-oriented peers? What I see in IBA, and I said I'm also very happy with this high pass rate from year 1 to year 2, is that is really a well-motivated group of students. So they motivate each other, and maybe also because of the different cultures that you want to see and experience it, and you see that people start excelling by learning from others from different perspectives. Now, are you looking for a strong foundation in all areas of business? That makes sense. That's an important thing you should be looking for if you want to study IBA. And are you liking this freedom? Since some find a difficult freedom of choice in year 3. Since what do you have to choose? What do I like, etc. But we have 2 years in which we can prepare you to think yourself what you want. But don't expect that we are telling you you have to do this and this in year 3. No, you have to be able to make your own choices in year 3. And yeah, are you interested in working on real cases with real companies? And I guess if you study international business, that is something what you like. So this slide is maybe only relevant for 50% of this population. This slide is only relevant for the students who speak Dutch. Since we also have a program bedrijfskunde. And I think that sometimes there's a kind of misperception that it's the same program but just in a different language. No, IBA is not bedrijfskunde and just in English. IBA is bedrijfskunde but then with an international mindset. And that's something completely different. It's not just the language. As I said, it's all about all these nationalities. But also in the classroom, you will get international examples, get more multicultural examples. If you are dealing with HRM, it's different to deal with HRM in an international company versus in a Dutch company. So if you want to choose IBA, you choose for an international experience, for an international career. For bedrijfskunde, we focus more on the Dutch business setting. And in bedrijfskunde, you also have more time for entrepreneurship. So if you are more interested in starting your own business, then maybe bedrijfskunde is more interested for you. Of course, and by the way, why we do that is because if you start a company, you always start locally. You most of the time don't start an international company at once. You start maybe first a Dutch company and then grow to an international company. Of course, in year 3, you had options to choose. So if you follow the IBA program and later discover, I still want to go into the entrepreneurship direction, there are minors around that, etc. So there are always options to change by year 3, what you choose in year 3. But I think it's really, the most important is, it's not like just English or Dutch. No, it's international versus bedrijfskunde. And also one thing, what I want to say is, English, yes, that is difficult, or it's difficult to study in a language which isn't your native language, but you are there with 600 peers. Right? And they have the same. So we have many nationalities, but the amount of students who have English as their native language is of course very limited. So we all have the same challenges. And you don't have to be, when I was your age, I didn't choose an English program. Now later, retrospectively, I think I would have loved it, to get to know all these different cultures. I now in my job have that, with all these teachers which are in your program from different cultures, etc. So I'm lucky that I prepared that. I was worried, concerned about my English, but I think that you shouldn't do. If you meet the English requirements, that is good enough, and you will survive. And we are not like on the exam, oh, the spelling is incorrect, then this whole answer is seen as incorrect. No, we understand that it takes time. So don't worry about that. However, there's one big difference. With bedrijfskunde, everyone who meets the requirements is admitted. For IBA, that isn't the case. We have a numerous fixes. So how does that work? It means we have a lot of students who apply, but we can only give an offer to 750 students. Be aware that you can only, in the Netherlands, you can only apply to 2 numerous fixes programs in the Netherlands at the same time, and there are certain requirements which are there, and also the ranking is based on this. And the ranking is not only based on your GPA or diploma, but for example, also based on your motivation. What you should do, you can register for IBA till 15th of January. And after you've registered, you need to fill in a form, and you should not forget to do that ultimately 31st of January. Then we will make a ranking and we will send out 750 offers to everyone all around the world. And you can accept that, yes or no. Maybe you have signed up for multiple programs. And once people say, still IBA isn't for me, then we can give that spot to number 751, etc. And we continue like that till August. So you can be on the waiting list. More questions about admissions or more details about admission is in the session just here afterwards. So if you want to know more about admissions, you can stay in this room for more details. Tuition fee. The tuition fee is 14,000 euros, but for everyone from the Netherlands or EEA countries, they have the standard subsidized fee by the Dutch government of 2,694 euros per year, which is for all programs at Erasmus University. But what is most expensive is, of course, living costs. We have to be honest, house prices are expensive, getting a study room, so the fee is not the most important, but I think the living cost, which is the case. So we see that some take a side job next to this, and some Dutch students get also a subsidy from the government for this, etc. But be aware of it and start on time. Start on time with finding a house. Really, when the 15th of April, or maybe even before, you know, you can already look a little bit like, what should I do to get a house here? What you can also still do is talk to IBA students. Preferably do that here today. There are a lot of students here. Please ask every question. But if you get back home and say, I forgot this question, there are students sometimes, they are live on our website, and you can ask your questions and they will respond. And we even indicate from which nationalities they are, so sometimes you can pick someone who's from the same country as you are and ask the questions. After a program, you can do a master's. Most will pick a master. 58% stays at RSM for the master, but 12 go to other top business schools. But I was surprised by this, but there are actually a lot of students who take a gap year or who take an internship. So some take a gap year, but always thought, let's first have an internship at the company and then go to my master's. And only very limited number of students, they stop after their bachelor and directly go to business. So I hope this program can make you one step closer to your dream job if you're interested in an international career. And I still have some time for questions. And I directly see someone with a question. Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you.
Can you elaborate a bit on your binding study advice? You mentioned that all of the courses need to be completed, but is there a threshold? Some courses you need to have in around 7 or 7.5?
So the question is, can you tell me a little bit more about the binding study advice, how that works, and whether there's a multiple threshold on certain courses. In principle, in the Netherlands, we grade on a level of 10, and you pass a course if you have a 5.5. And you only have to pass all courses with a 5.5. That is the threshold, which is equal for all the courses. Though we have one exemption that we allow for one insufficient grade, which can be compensated by then a higher grade. So you can, to be very precise, I think it's 1.5. So if you do not meet the threshold of 5.5 but have a 5.4 course, you can compensate that by at least 1.7. And then it's okay. Yes. We have a microphone which will...
Hello, you
Yes.
hear me well? Sorry, I wanted to wonder how many face-to-face hours per week do students experience with the professor?
How many hours face-to-face? It depends per block, since some blocks are more intense than others. I think we are now somewhere around 12 to 14 in year one. The block I'm now teaching, so I know a little bit on the block. That's the first year block. I'm the math professor, so I teach that. So it's something like that. So that means the other hours are self-study, and you should really be dedicated to do so. You have to read material, you have to watch video clips, etc., and make exercises.
And when we're talking about 12 to 14 hours, are we talking about lectures, workshops?
It's a
what kind of?
It's a combination of both. So lectures and workshops, and professional development mentoring is also there. That course is always during the whole year. So sometimes, like for my course, it's like once per week a lecture of 2 hours and a workshop. But in the lecture, because it's math, we do exercises in the lecture a lot. And we have a workshop which is small scale. So the workshops are generally smaller scale, so it's something like max 70 students in a room, where also teaching assistants help. So second year students, so some of you like it to help the next generation, and they help them in the classroom with making exercises, etc. So it's a combination of both.
You would say 2 main types is lectures and workshops, right?
Yes.
Yep. Thank you so much. Fantastic.
You can give it to the one.
We have a question here as well.
Good morning. Just to know, how many applications do you refuse each year? Meaning, how many applications do you normally receive?
That's a good question, and I don't know that by heart. So there will be, if you want to know that, you should ask it in the next session or outside. We have people asking, but I believe that this one is quite like it should be. So I guess it's somewhere that around 1/3 will be admitted to the program.
Can we have a question here?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Do you think RSM or IBA may be affected by recent political initiatives? I mean, the language quotas, that 75% of education in the Netherlands should be in the English language, in the Dutch.
Yeah. So the question is whether there was some political attention on programs in English in the Netherlands. First of all, you do not have to worry that once you start a program, we will never stop a program halfway, right? So it means that at a certain moment, it stopped new applications. I truly believe that international business is a core of the Dutch economy. So I'm not concerned about that. Recently, the universities have proposed to stop some of the English psychology studies, and politics said, I think that is a good idea, and so I believe our program will stay, and I truly believe it's very important for the Dutch economy, even, and so I'm not concerned. And we are having this program already for 25 years. I think we were one of the first ones in the Netherlands. And yeah, it is one of the best international programs in the Netherlands, I just have to admit.
For the criteria, is there, are they all valued the same? Like, is mathematics as important as motivation? Or is mathematics more important? Is there like something like that?
I don't dare to answer that. You should ask the admissions officer. But they will be outside, and they will have a session here directly here after. So please.
I know that 75% are grades, and 25% is motivation. Any more questions?
There's a question. Oh, I see 2 microphones. We do this one first.
Is there any chance for, or do you organize any pre-university study, for example, 2 weeks courses? Pre-university in the groups?
So the university offers a pre-academic program. So that is university-wide. So it's not specialized on business administration, but that is just specialized about how to study, etc. But we have a pre-academic program at the university, but it's not related to a specific program. There was a question there.
Sorry, I just remembered that I wanted to ask you about something called the ECE, Erasmus Center for Entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Do you know anything about it? What is it? Is it accessible for bachelors or only for masters?
That details I don't know. Sorry. that you should really ask to an expert. I don't know. Like it's an Erasmus center, so it's Erasmus Broad, this center of entrepreneurship. But how it's exactly accessible from which year, etc., I cannot answer that question. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
But if you are interested in entrepreneurship, as said, there's not a core course in that, but we have several minors in entrepreneurship in year 3.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is it to get a room here? Because I heard from a friend it's only for non-Dutch people.
Yeah, so the rooms at the university, if you go outside, you see one building which is student housing, and there's actually another building as well. Those student housing on campus, they are most of the time only indeed for international students. But outside campus, there's a lot of space, a lot of rooms. They are actually building now a lot of new buildings, student housing next to the university. I think only the ones on campus, they are reserved for international students and also for short term, because we offer you to go on exchange, but when you go on exchange to another university, also students from that university come here, and they need temporary, a short time, 3 months, 6 months, they need some housing. And that is difficult to arrange, since if you want to go to the private sector for renting, they always want 1-year contracts or longer contracts, and the short term. So therefore we help the internationals a little bit more than Dutch when it comes to on campus. Oh, a final question, and then we have to wrap this up.
Test?
Yes.
My question is, how is it decided who goes to a certain university for the exchange? Because sometimes there might be more people that want to go to a university than there are places.
Yes, so we have agreements with all these universities about the amount of places. So indeed, it can be that there is more demand. So you will not only submit for your your number 1, but you always submit a ranking of universities you want to go to. Some universities have very strict application criteria. So they say your GPA should be higher than an 8 or something. So it can sometimes be, but then after the GPA, it's just random based on interest.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you for joining us. If you are interested in admissions, you can stay here. No, I get. Oh. I'm just staying here if there are questions.
Beter? Test, test.
If you really want to change the world, start in a small country with big ambitions.
I explore the transformative impact of technology and AI on businesses and individuals through research and teaching.
I do research that improves leadership practices across countries and industries.
We strive for a sustainable future for business leadership, setting the pace in every arena.
Here, more than 9,000 students from over 90 nationalities work together on global challenges and become agents of positive change. Founded by Dutch multinationals and performing research in collaboration with businesses, we have been developing leaders with innovative mindsets for over 50 years. And we've grown to become one of the top business schools in Europe. At RSM, collaboration is a core value, and it's a place where creativity drives us. With a global network that exceeds 50,000 alumni, our community turns their goals and ambitions into action. We can all truly be a force for positive change in the world. Positive change starts in Rotterdam. Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in sunny Rotterdam today. My name is Esther de Koning. I work at the admissions office of Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University. And I'll guide you through everything you need to know today about admission and application. The presentation will last for around 20 minutes, and afterwards there will be time to ask your questions. Okay, so this is what we will cover today. First, I'll tell you more about our selection process, which is called the numerus fixus. Afterwards, I'll give you more information about our admission requirements, including a self-check to see whether you're eligible. I'll give you more information about the selection process, including how we make our ranking. And finally, some application information, including some practical tips. So, what does a numerus fixus mean? So, most programs in the Netherlands have an open admission, meaning if you have the right level of diploma, you can start the program. Our IBA program is classified as a numerus fixus program, so it basically means that we're bound by some rules set by the government. So what does it mean for you? It's the first thing is we have a fixed number of students, and secondly, we have fixed deadlines. So, which is very important to remember. The 15th of January, you will need to register before that date in StudyLink. So StudyLink opens in the beginning of October, so last week, so you can already apply. The final deadline to apply is the 15th of January. After registration in StudyLink, you will still have 2 more weeks to submit your application in OLAF. OLAF is the online application portal of Rotterdam School of Management. So after registration, you will receive a link to OLAF within 24 hours, and there you will log in, submit all the required documents, answer the motivation questions, and submit your application. All numerus fixus programs in the Netherlands receive the outcome on the same day, which is the 15th of April. And the fixed number of students, so we are not able to allow everybody to start a program with a diploma, which gives you access to our research university, because we simply have too many applications. So every year we will have around 2,700 applications, and we only allow 750 students to start a program. So this is why we are a selective program, because we cannot handle 2,700 students starting the program. So, the most important topic of today, the admission requirements. So, what are the admission requirements? So, we're asking for 3 different things. The first is an eligible diploma. Secondly, mathematics. And thirdly, English. So, the first criteria is the diploma. You need to have a diploma which is either the Dutch pre-university diploma, the VWO diploma, or an international equivalent of this one. So we have listed a few of our diplomas which are making you eligible for admission, as the German Abitur, the French BAC, the European BAC, or the international BAC, the IB diploma. If yours isn't listed, don't worry, because we have on our website over 60 international diploma listed. So please check our website and see whether your diploma meets our requirements. Furthermore, we're asking for a certain minimum grade, which is for the Dutch diplomas, it's a grade of 7, which is considered above average. For all the international diplomas, please check our website where you can find the minimum grades that we are asking for. Secondly, mathematics. So a good knowledge of mathematics is important to be successful in our IBA program. So that's why we're asking for minimum grades and minimum levels of mathematics. In the Dutch diploma, we're asking for a grade of 7 for wiskunde A, or a grade of 6 for wiskunde B. For all the international diplomas, please check our website. Some diplomas are not, they don't offer the right level of diploma, and then you will be, you need to prove your proficiency in mathematics, and you can do so by passing a mathematics test. So there are several options, but in general, we recommend you to pass the OMPT exam, which is an online exam. So you can take it at home, behind your own computer. So if you don't meet mathematics either grade or level, you can still prove your mathematics proficiency by passing this test. And you can already apply and then hand in those results until the 15th of March. Thirdly is English. So our IBA program is an English taught program, so therefore a certain proficiency of English is needed. For the Dutch diploma, we're asking for VWO subject English with a grade of 7. And for the international diplomas, it depends a little bit what diploma, what kind of level or grade we require. So please, again, check our website. If you don't meet the required grade or level, you can pass a standardized test. This is either IELTS, TOEFL, or Cambridge. And next to that, since this year, we're accepting as well the Pearson academic test and the language search test. And you will have the time until the 15th of March to hand in those results. So if you meet all the requirements, we encourage you to apply. Here is an example of our website. So there you can see whether you meet the average grade for your diploma, mathematics and English. So for mathematics and English, we're still allowing you to pass a test in case you don't meet the level or grade. However, if you don't meet the grade requirements, so your overall grade, the chance of selection is very small. So we would recommend you only to apply if you meet all the requirements. So this is how our website looks. So you can check which diploma you have from which country and what are the requirements per diploma. All right, so a question for you. Who of you has already graduated, so completed their secondary school diploma? I see some hands, all right, great. So this is more or less what we see as well in our pool of applications. So in most of our applicants, they have not yet graduated, so they're in their final year. I would say around 90% of our applications, they're currently in their final year, and therefore they don't have their final diploma yet. So as we have a numerous fixes program and we're asking for to submit grades, and we want to see a full year of grades, we're asking you to send in the penultimate year. So this is the year before you graduated. So for the Dutch diplomas, this is 5 VWO. And we will calculate your grade average based on this full year. So what are we asking for as well? Next to that, for those who have not yet graduated, is a diploma statement. So your school needs to fill in a diploma statement which lists all the subjects that you're taking and all the subjects that you're taking an exam in. So this depends a little bit per country because, for example, Belgium, they do things a little bit different and they don't have national exams. But then at least your school can fill in all those subjects, so we know whether you will meet, for example, mathematics, because for some countries, a certain type of mathematics is needed in their final year or in their final exams. So especially for international A levels in IB, diploma applicants, we don't accept predicted grades. So only achieved grades are considered. All right, and for those of you who have already graduated and completed their secondary school education, we're asking for your final year grades, your exams, your national exams or your school exams, so that depends a little bit per country what is required, and you can find that as well on our website. So some countries, like for example, Spain, they're all doing a certain national entrance exams, and then we need to have those results. All right, we're moving on to the selection. So how do we make the selection? Our selection is based on 2 criteria. So the first is average grade, and the second is motivation. So the average grade is very important. We're asking for the average grade, and this will count 75% of your final selection. So it is very important. So on our website, you can find the grades that we're requiring. And in general, the higher your grade is, the more selection points you will receive. So the higher you will end up in the ranking. If you don't meet this minimum requirement, that for example for IB diploma, this is 33. And if you score only 29 in your penultimate year, then the chance of selection is very small. So that is good to be aware of. So of course, this is a new admission year, and we don't know yet how many applications that we will receive. But in the past years, nobody has been selected that didn't meet the minimum requirement. Secondly, motivation. So we're asking everybody to fill in motivation questions. So it's not a motivation letter that you're writing, but in our online application system, there are 3 questions, and those you can fill in. And this will count towards 25% of your total ranking number. So how do we make this ranking? It's a lot of information here. I'll try to explain it to you a little bit. So to make the selection fair, we're created different tiers. So it basically means if you meet all the requirements, the right level of diploma, mathematics, and English, you will end up in the first tier. If you don't meet the average grade that we are asking for, you will end up in tier 2. So you will be below the tier 1. Or if, for example, your English grade is too low. If your English grade is too low, you can still pass a test, a proficiency test. And then you will end up with, if you receive those results before the 15th of March, you will end up in the first tier. The third tier is for those who have a too low grade for mathematics. And if you pass one of the mathematics tests that we accept, with that you can move to the first tier. So, as I said before, in the past years, only the ones who meet all the requirements ended up in the first tier, received an offer. So it was more or less, I think, an average of 1,400 that ended up in the first tier. And by the 15th of April, the first 750 applicants will receive an offer. Okay, I have another quiz question for you. What is the application deadline in StudyLink? Yes, that is correct. It's the 15th of January. Very good. Paid attention very well. So, the application process. The first step is to apply in StudyLink for the program. So StudyLink is the national registration system, so all the universities work with this system. You have to apply for IBA first in StudyLink. Within 24 hours, you will receive a link to our online application system, so OLAF. And there you will be able to upload all the required documents, answer the questions, the motivation questions, and submit your application. So it's very important to do that before the 15th of January at midnight. And this is local time in Rotterdam, so not elsewhere in the world. We had some difficulties in that past, so in general, you would save yourself a lot of trouble by applying before that date. The second step is therefore OLAF. So I already explained this to you. Something important to notice, we are sending all the message, all the communication to you via OLAF. So please check your OLAF inbox in a regular basis. So you do receive a notification in your own email, in your personal email, whenever you receive a message. However, for example, if there's an unclear document, and we're trying to we're checking your documents and your transcript is not visible, we will always send you a message via Olaf. So keep an eye on your inbox. Thirdly, in case it is needed, you need to still hand in your mathematics or English results. You have the time until the 15th of March. So that is as well an important deadline. So afterwards we will make the ranking. And of the 15th of April, all the results are sent via StudyLink. So you will be able to receive an offer in case you're within the 750 applicants, or you will be put on the waiting list. And the waiting list will continue until the 1st of August. So if you have, for example, ranking number 900, you in general don't need to worry because you will still receive an offer. So the first 750 applicants will receive an offer on the 15th of April, and you will have 2 weeks to accept or decline your offer. In case you decline it, the next person on the waiting list will receive an offer. In case you're passive and you don't do anything, it will automatically be declined after 2 weeks. And therefore, we will continue in the waiting list. We have on our website, on all the working days, we update our website, not on Saturday or Sunday. So you can have a look at the progress of the waiting list. So that is important for you to know. On the 1st of August, the waiting list stops. So if by then you didn't receive an offer, you won't receive an offer anymore. Okay, some tips for your application. The first is apply as early as possible and apply on time. So you can already apply now, at least wait for after this session, but StudyLink already opened, so there's no need to wait in general. Whether you have already graduated or you didn't graduate yet, in that case, we will anyway take grades from last year, so there's no need to wait. And we always have some troubles with students that are, for example, trying to get a diploma statement in a school during Christmas holiday, which is closed. And so in general, we just recommend you, if you want to apply and meet the requirements, do it as soon as possible. Secondly, read the website and check your inbox in Olaf. So we do have a lot of information on our website. So I would just recommend you as well to have a look at our website to see whether you meet the requirements, but as well there's a lot of information about the mathematics test and the English test which you accept. So please have a look at that before you apply. Thirdly, important, never cancel your registration in StudyLink. As it is a numerous fixes program, all the formalities are taken care of via StudyLink. So if you reject your offer, we cannot help you anymore. So once you cancel your registration, it is completed. You cannot reapply. You have to wait for next year. And finally, be patient. As I said before, over the past 3 years, applicants with an average of 1,250 did receive an offer. So we cannot predict how it will be this year, but in general, it is more or less the same because there are many students that apply for several programs and they still decide not to join, to take a gap year or to go to a different university. So with a ranking number of 900 or 1,000, you will receive an offer. So don't worry about that. Okay, and then I will end this presentation with some practical matters. I'm not going to give too much detailed information about this because it's not applicable to everybody here. But in general, to start with tuition fees, The tuition fees for next year are already known. This will be 14,000 euros a year for the institutional fee, so for the applicants outside of the European Union. And the subsidized fee will be 2,694. So this is the tuition fee per year. So you will need to count for 3 years, of course. The living costs, those of you living in the Netherlands already, you already know more or less what the living costs are in the Netherlands. But living costs can be quite expensive compared to some countries. So just keep an eye on, we have on our website an overview where you can find more information and a template, what you would pay for groceries, books, housing, of course, and very important. And another very important thing is bike and bike repairs, of course, because you will be biking here in the Netherlands. We do offer a few scholarships. We have a few waivers, meaning that you will pay the subsidized fee instead of the institutional fee for a few students from outside the European Union. And we do have a scholarship, which is actually a very nice one for European students. It's called the Entrepreneurial Spirit Scholarship. And this scholarship is founded by alumni of the program. So they all studied IBA. And now they are mentoring students with an entrepreneurial spirit. And they pay for the tuition fee, but they as well, for the duration of the 3 years of the study, they mentor them as well. If you want to apply for a scholarship, you can do that in your application in Olaf as well. So we're asking for a few questions to fill in. If you need a visa and or residence permit, our university is taking care of that. So that is they will completely help you with that and guide you through the entire process. And finally, housing, which is as well an important topic. We don't guarantee housing for our international students. It is difficult to find in the Netherlands. We do help you with it. We have our own housing office here at the university. We do offer as well some housing, mostly for non-European students on the campus, which you can apply for, but we can always help you with finding something once you received an offer. Okay, that was it for today. Thank you for listening to this presentation, and now we will have time to ask some questions. Our student ambassadors will go to you whenever you have a question. Please try to keep the questions a little bit general, so not specifically like my diploma from Slovakia, do I meet mathematics requirements with the higher level? And if you want to ask a question personally, me and my colleagues, Holly and Shirley, will be outside as well for the entire day, outside of this room. So, yes, thank you. All right. Let's move to the first question.
Not working. Oh, no. Hi.
Yes.
I did my Abitur, German Abitur this year. Oh, can you hear me? And I got a 2.1 GPA, but I do meet the rest of the criteria. Is there still no chance of getting in?
Yeah, so if you don't meet the minimum requirement that we're asking for as a grade for the German Zeugnis der Allgemeinen Hochschulreife, then the chance to be selected is very low. So in the past years, nobody did meet the requirements. So only if you meet the mathematics, so if you, for example, your grade for mathematics or English is too low, then you can still make a test and end up in the first year, but the average grade needs to be met.
So even if it's just 1 point more?
Yes, yes. So that is
0.1.
I'm afraid that is the minimum requirement that we're asking. Yeah. Sorry, the microphone. Otherwise, you can come after the session to me as well. We can talk about that. Yeah, specifically about the German Zeugnis.
Hi.
Yes.
Currently, I'm studying in a HBO school for a 4-year program, but I'm planning to take a proper use. Is it possible to join the school in 2026 September with a proper use that I started currently recently?
Yeah, so if you have propeduizer from the University of Applied Sciences, the hogeschool, you can only apply for IBA once you meet the requirements of a grade of 7.5. But including that as well, you need to have a minimum amount of credits. So on our website, you can find the requirements. And if you don't have that by the deadline of the 31st of January, so we're asking for at least 25 credits. And in general, in the Netherlands, you won't have that amount of credits. So then it is difficult to join the selection because it's a strict requirement, as mentioned on our website. So then the only option for you would be either to wait another year or to finish your University of Applied Sciences degree and then continue to a pre-master in our university and a master. Because you will lose another year, so you can as well decide as well to finish your business degree at the hogeschool and then continue to a pre-master and a master at Rotterdam School of Management. Okay.
I have a quick question. I already study IBA, but next door. You've talked a lot about the application, etc. But could you tell me a bit more about the directions and what you are going to study?
Well, this session is specifically about admissions.
But like some kind of directions, because I focus now on supply chain. But do you have that as well here?
So this is more a question, I would say, for the program director. So there will be another session at 2. And if you have currently, like, for example, a specific question about that, you can as well talk to the student ambassadors. They are downstairs as well, because this session is really about admissions and application. Yes.
Hello. If we apply to another school, will it be detrimental to this application? Are you aware of our application to another school?
Yeah, so it is possible to apply in the Netherlands via StudyLink to 4 different study programs. And 2 of those can be numerus fixus. So there is a maximum. So if, for example, you want to study IBA, but you don't know in which city, for example, you're adopting between Rotterdam or Amsterdam or Twente or even Tilburg, you can apply to all of them as long as 2 of them are numerus fixus or different study programs. Of course, this is only, the rule applies only in the Netherlands. So if you are applying for different study programs, that doesn't count somewhere else. But a maximum of 4 in total and 2 numerus fixus. Yeah.
Are you aware of the other applications?
We can see in StudyLink, but it doesn't matter for us. So we will always, we will independently look at your application. So for us, it doesn't matter because we know many students apply and they make the decision only later. So, yeah.
Hi. So if you make it into tier 1, but just barely, so you hardly meet the minimum requirement for math, for example. So in AIHL, you get a 5, and then your overall grade point is like 34, so 1 above.
Yeah.
Does that still mean that your probability of admissions is quite low? Like it's quite unlikely for you to get in? Or?
No. So in the past years, we've seen if you meet the requirements, you have a fair chance of getting in. So if you have 34 instead of the minimum 33 for IB diploma, you most likely will receive an offer, but not in the beginning, not in April. So as long as the waiting list continue, but you do need to meet mathematics and English. So if you have an English taught IB program, that's fine, but you still need to have the right level and grade of mathematics. All right?
Hi. So we live in Switzerland, and my son is going through the Swiss Matura. So when we apply, we put in the provisional Zeugnis.
Yeah.
and we don't get the final Zeugnis until June. So do we upload the final Zeugnis?
No, because he doesn't have the final Zeugnis yet, we will assess him based on the penultimate year. So the year grades of last year.
But you never have to upload the final, so the final Zeugnis
No,
doesn't matter?
no. The final results in the end don't matter because we have to make a ranking by the 15th of April already. And by then, almost none of the diplomas who are in their final year will receive their end results. So because we are based on achieved grades, the decision is made on the achieved grades of last year. We assume that your grades will be more or less the same. And if your grades are a little bit lower than expected, then you're lucky.
So just quickly, one more question. So this is about deferment. Do you accept deferments? Like,
no.
You accept it, so you have to apply again.
No, you have to apply again. So you cannot defer your offer as it's a numerus fixus. You can decide to decline it and then apply again next year. And that won't make a difference in, we will evaluate your application the same as last year, but the difference is by then that you will have your final grade. So it can be different then. So if then you don't meet the minimum requirements, we will always take into consideration your final year grades then, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you have a question first.
Hi. In the past few years, what has the average
grade been of the applicants that have been accepted? Just like a ballpark. Do you have any idea?
It's difficult to tell because we have over 80 different diplomas, and with each we have an own grading table. So in general, what we can say is if you meet the minimum requirement, you have a fair chance to get in. There's, however, no guarantee because the first year was around 1,400 students and around 1,250, 1,300 would receive an offer. So the higher your grade, the higher the chance of being selected, but there's no guarantee.
You don't have any Dutch average in your mind?
It changed a little bit in the past years. So it's between a 7 and a 7.3.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That's roughly this.
Yeah. Yes.
Hi. So I went to school in France, so I have planned to pass the IELTS test, but I haven't got the results yet. So that means I can apply now and then complete my application later?
Exactly. You can already complete your application now.
But I haven't the results.
Without English test results, we will start to evaluate your application already to see if everything is complete. And then we will send you a message that you will still need to pass English. And you will have the time until the 15th of March to hand us in. You can as well decide to wait and only submit once you are completed, but you can already submit your application now without English or mathematics.
And so for the grades last year, we just need the last year grades and not this year's?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, even for English and math?
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
so
thank you.
Your entire application, if you haven't graduated yet, will be based on your penultimate year, so your last year grades. If you have graduated, then we will take your final year and/or exams. That depends a little bit per country, what is needed.
Okay, to this question, so we need to have the same grades into the final year, because now we will make the application with the previous year's grades.
Yes.
So the same grades we have to
maintain.
It is. So the grades are 8 mathematics. So in the final year, 7 English, and the average grades to be up to 8, I think, for the European baccalaureate.
For the European bac.
So the same is for S7 as well, because now we will apply with the grades from the S6.
Yeah.
Okay. So 2 years. You're,
no. So for
2 years with the same eligibility criteria.
So if you haven't graduated, we will always make the selection based on your penultimate year grades.
Okay, we have these grades.
If it turns out to be even higher or lower, in general, that doesn't really matter because you have been already selected. There's only one exception, which is the international A levels, because that if you have lower grades in your final year, the level of diploma is actually considered different. But for the European BAC, this is pre-university level, it's fine. So if you apply with, for example, 85 or an 8.5, you will receive an offer, assuming that you meet mathematics and English.
Okay. Let's assume that we have all the grades and we apply. But in the S7, maybe in mathematics, we will not have 8, we will not have 6 or 7.
That doesn't
what
matter.
What happens in this case?
No, we won't withdraw your offer because you have already proved that you were fine, that you met the requirements, and we do take into account that during your exam, for example, you have some nerves and that your grades are a bit lower. We do, however, will send you a message to explain in general, like what happens, but we won't withdraw your offer. The only exception being the A levels, the international advanced levels. Yeah, but for the European BAC, it's fine. So if your mathematics grade turns out during your final exam a bit lower, it's okay. You already showed that you're... No, that is not our program. So maybe that's a different program because we don't do interviews with 2,600 applications, luckily.
Hello. So
Hello.
we did the GCSEs at ES levels only.
Yes.
So what grades do we need to submit?
Yeah, so for the A levels, I think it's better if you come to this after the session to me, because it's a little bit more complicated. And in general, we only have 3 minutes now left. So specific questions about diplomas, I would leave, and you can come and visit me after the session, all right?
Okay.
So if there's still 1 or 2 final questions which are a bit general, not specific to a diploma, you're welcome.
Yes?
Yes.
2 questions. So one, you need a translated version.
I think the microphone is not working.
Great. Do you need a translated version of paper that explains the grade from last
So
year?
we accepted, as mentioned on our website, English, German, Spanish, Italian, French. So we don't need a translation, but we don't. Nobody in the office is speaking Arabic, for example.
Okay.
So we would like to have translation of all the other languages. Yeah, the microphone is not working. Maybe
yeah.
someone can.
So the other question is, as long as we pass the requirement in math, even if it's like just slightly above,
Yeah.
we don't need to do the test. It's not like a plus to do it.
Exactly, exactly. It's not an extra. You need to meet the requirements in mathematics or English either by your level and grade or by the test. And it doesn't matter how you prove
It will
your
not
proficiency.
like help to be ranked better to do the test in addition
because the
to
ranking will not. The ranking will purely based on average grade, 75%, and
including
25
all
motivation.
subjects then. The average grade on all subjects.
On all subjects,
Okay,
exactly.
thank you.
Yeah. I see. Maybe there's time for 1 more question, and then we can ask some questions after the session. Yes.
Hi, sorry. I've seen that in the application that for making the mathematics exam, do you have a syllabi or something that she can study and get ready for the exam?
Yes. So we're asking for mathematics. We're asking the topics of the Dutch pre-university diploma, wiskunde A. So it's a level of subject, and you can find those topics online. So the OMPT is one of the recommended tests. So we have as well some state exams that we accept, but the OMPT is the recommended one. They have all the topics of the mathematics. So if you are not sure whether you would meet it, you can, for example, go with your mother who's good in mathematics or with a mathematics teacher to have a look at all the topics to prepare for the exam. And we're asking for at least 75% of the test. out of 100. So,
so the topics are easy to
the
find.
The topics on our website.
On your website. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you very
please
much.
have a look at our website for all the information. All right. That was it for today. We are still the entire day here downstairs. My colleagues Shirley and Holly are here as well. So please come and visit us in case you still have questions. And we look forward to receiving your application. Great.
Hey. Hey. Yeah. Okay. Hey. Hey, hey.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah.
everyone, good afternoon, and welcome to the student panel for IBA. Also for those who are watching the live stream at home, welcome as well. My name is Shirley Akkoord. I work as admissions officer at Rotterdam School of Management. So this session is not a regular presentation. It's going to be a, student panel, so a Q&A. That means you can ask questions to our students after I've introduced themselves. You can ask them any questions that you want to. You can ask them questions about the program, classes, maybe professors, student life, or even maybe tips and tricks on how to find housing. If you have a specific admissions-related question, so that means, for instance, if you want to know if you have to take a mathematics exam with your diploma, please come to me afterwards or speak to our admissions staff downstairs. So we are just one floor below. So these questions that you're going to ask are purely for our students. Furthermore, there are 2 or 3 students in the room. They have a microphone. So if you have a question, please wait for them to come to you with a microphone, and then you can ask your question. So now I'll give the floor to our students who will introduce themselves. So guys, go ahead.
Hello everyone, my name is Magdalena. I'm second year IBA student. I'm from Poland, and in high school I obtained IB diploma.
Hi everyone, I'm Tom. I'm from Hamburg, Germany, and as you can see, I also did the Abitur. So yeah.
Hello everyone, I'm Adil. I'm from Lille in France, and as you can see, I did French baccalaureate.
Hi everyone, my name is Doya. I'm Chinese, but I grew up here in the Netherlands, so I did the VWO diploma.
Okay, well, thank you guys. Let's start with the first question. So who is bold enough to ask the first question? You can raise your hand, don't be shy. No one? This is the first time that no one has a question? Really? Ah, that's one. Okay, good.
So I've heard that this program does not have a lot of mathematics. Is that a problem that you would expect to encounter later on in finding a job or no?
So I would say we do actually have quite a few quantitative courses. In the first year, you have a course which is literally mathematics, and you will kind of go over the things you already learned in high school, but just to freshen them up, because all the other quantitative courses kind of builds on this mathematics course. For example, in the first year, you have finance, accounting, quantitative decision-making. That all builds up on mathematics. So I would say there's actually like quite a few like mathematics-related courses in IBA, yeah.
Yeah, so mathematics is really an essential part of the program. So if you're already struggling a bit, or if you're not very good at maths, then IBA is going to be quite of a challenge, so to speak. Who has the next question? Who wants to ask the next question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a bit blinded by the light, so sometimes I'm looking in the other direction.
I have a question for Adil. So I'm here.
Oh yeah, I see you.
So I'm also doing the... and I just wanted to know what specialities you took and what grades did you have during those specialities?
Okay, so in première, I had economics and society, so SES, geopolitics, and math, and I kept economics and math in terminal, and I had experts mathematics as well, and if I'm not mistaken, I had around 18 out of 20, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it was around these grades.
Thank you.
Okay. I see somebody there, but in the middle of the...
So I
One
have a
next.
question for... Wait, can you hear me? For the IB student, do you think the IB prepared you well for the IBA program, and what class did you take during IB?
So during IB, I did higher level mathematics AA. I did geography and English. Standard level was Polish, German, and physics. And I think I can confidently say that IB prepared me very well for IBA, especially considering that we have plenty of group projects, for example, in IBA, where you really have to master your academic writing skills. And I think with IB, with writing plenty of internal assessments, it really prepares you how to write academically properly. So, and also being prepared for the international environment, I would say, is a great plus of IB. So I would say that IB definitely prepares you very well for IBA and studying in international environment.
Okay, thank you. There's a lady on the...
Yeah, this is probably a generic question. Are there any statistics as to how many hires happen directly from the campus from different companies? And if any of the BACs play a major role there? And for me, it's from European BAC. If anything specifically can be for that also, is fine.
I'm sorry, I didn't really quite get your question.
Yeah, the first part is, are there any statistics as to how many hires will happen from the campus directly to the companies after the IBA?
There probably are statistics. Well, I don't know them by heart, but what we do have, we have a very dedicated career center office. They also have a very elaborate website. So if you go to the career center, RSM Career Center, you can find a lot of information, for instance, about internships, but also about a graduation report, like once master students have graduated, what sort of jobs do they end up in? So you can find a lot of statistics. And if you have an additional question, you can always send us an email. But I would kind of recommend you to have a look at the Career Center website.
Okay.
Thank you. So a generic question for all of you. What made you select this program rather than other one that you might have applied to? And was it confirmed after your first year?
I would answer that with a definite yes. So for me, it confirmed itself after the first year. I would not change this program for anything. I had the opportunity or the option to study as well in Germany or in Switzerland, and I chose to study here because I wanted to study especially in English. And so that's something that really stands out. I have a lot of international friends. There are of course some Germans there, but we speak English all the time. The course, everything is in English. So I like it with a business setting as well. So business is in English. Having that background, English speaking already, is really helpful for me, as well as the community here is really nice, I find. Everyone is very open, and Rotterdam, I think, is also a very beautiful city and very nice to live in. So, yeah.
Just a second. Oh, sorry. Do you have anything to add? One of you other students? No?
Well, for me, it was actually the same because I grew up in a very small town in the Netherlands where my high school was mainly Dutch people, which is fine, but I just wanted like a completely new environment. And in our first year here at IBA, we have students from over 50 different countries. So you will get to work with all kinds of people from, I don't know, Asia, America, within Europe. So you will meet a lot of new people, new cultures. So that was definitely one of the reasons that I wanted to study IBA instead of, for example, BA, which is completely in Dutch.
Okay. There's somebody here, I don't know whether you have the microphone. There's one gentleman here on the second row, or... Yeah, first we go to another person. Yeah?
Does the school propose any entrepreneurship workshop to help start your own company?
So from my knowledge, I am not myself a part of it. There's some startup hub here on campus, not specifically from RSM, but from other parts of the university as well. So you can join there as a member, be a part of a startup. Additionally, we also have courses that are related to entrepreneurship, business simulation in second year, for example. We haven't gone through this course yet, but where you simulate being in a business. So that's some things that might relate to your startup background. And
I'm also myself part of entrepreneurship association, which is called Enactus. So there's plenty of opportunities to actually develop your entrepreneurship skills. You can either start your own social venture there, or you can join one. For example, I'm part of Employee Venture as a client acquisition specialist. So I would say that there's plenty of opportunities to really dive deeper into the entrepreneurship world. And really, if you want to start something on your own, there's plenty of opportunities provided by universities and university and students themselves.
Okay, thank you.
Can I? Hello? Yeah, it works.
Oh.
So, can I ask?
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Where's the person who's asking the question? Because I'm...
Me?
Oh, yes. Sorry. It's the lights. It's not that I don't want to see you.
Well, since this program is about the business, I do expect a lot of group works. So how does the assignments look like? It's more a business case solution where you have to work in a group, or it's more individual where you just have to prepare yourself for exam, for example?
That's a good question.
It really depends on the different block that we had. We had, of course, individual exams, but also a lot of group projects. So an example I can mention would be the strategic business plan course that we had last year, which was a course that was for about half of the last half of the first year. And it was a team of 5 students where we had to work with a real company. So we had to find a company that will be willing to work with us and to give us all the information that we need, and then build a strategic business plan for them. So have a lot of interaction with them. So that was an example of group project. For this one, we got to choose our team, but we also had other group projects where we were assigned to teammates, and that was also a great opportunity to meet other people in the programs.
So I would just to add on, say that from my feeling, almost every other course there's a group project at least involved in some case. So sometimes there's like for the course he just mentioned, there's only the group project, but every other course, what it feels like, has a group project somewhere in the course.
Hello, just over here.
Oh, your microphone is not working. Oh, they come.
1, 2.
It's not working? Okay, another microphone is coming to you.
Hello. I think we're good. Do you guys have
Oh.
Okay.
We can still hear you.
We can
I
hear
think.
you.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any work-related experience already with course, or are you going to apply for any internships during summer, anything?
So I think the question is, do you already have any working experience, or are you going to apply for internships?
So I did an internship in my high school time already, like a short internship, which was mandated by my high school. But in the third year, for example, you have the opportunity to do an internship. You could also choose to go on exchange or do a minor. Additionally, I know from a lot of people that are doing internships during the summer break. So I'm also planning to do that next year. So far, I haven't in the first year because it's quite difficult to find something as someone who's just started their bachelor studies. But after second year, a lot of people are trying to find internships in the summer break during the course. Otherwise, I also know some people are also doing it during the course, which is also doable, but of course a bit more of a higher workload when you have to combine your studies and the internship at the same time.
So you can do an internship in your third year, so you can choose whether you want to do an internship or an exchange or a minor, so there are some options available.
Thank you. And just a second question, general one. What's the most challenging bit in your first year, whether it's housing, a specific module, exams, anything from all of them?
Okay, so did you hear the question? So for those of you who didn't hear, what is the most challenging in your first year like?
So I would say it was probably... Can you hear me? Okay. So I would say it was probably the switch between high school and university, because here, especially IBA, it is a lot of self-studying, because most of the lectures are actually not mandatory, so it's really up to you whether you want to go or not. So you really need to be motivated, disciplined, and actually do the work, because in high school you could maybe get away with preparing for exams 3 days before. Here, that is literally impossible. So you really need to be motivated and disciplined. So I think that switch was kind of the most hardest part of the first year. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. After this, there's a gentleman also on the second row who's been wanted to ask questions, but yeah, he's been asking for a while. Oh, this. This one, yeah.
Okay, my question. Maybe it's a general question. Just how did you make your mind? Because my son, I'm planning for international business in economics or international business in administration. I want to make up his mind. Which one is good? When you started joining in the first year, how did you took your decision to enroll in this particular course? Because I'm just confused to enroll in this course or in the international business in economics.
So
it's for general.
Yeah. So from what I've got to know from other people who study international business and business economics, it's more quantitative focused. Like this course, of course, we have also our quantitative courses like mathematics, quantitative decision making, and statistic. But IBA, is that how we call it, is a lot more math focused in that sense. You have a lot more focus on the technicalities of econometrics and stuff like that. So if you're more into the quantitative focus, then maybe that IBAP is more the course for you. But if you're more on the general business administration and you want to have a broad overview, then IBA is a very good choice. That's why I'm here.
And I would say, to add to that, what really helped me make up your mind about what to study, because I also at the beginning had no idea what to choose, because I was interested in plenty of things. I took a step back, and throughout my whole life, I took a look at what I was interested in terms of extracurriculars, so outside of school, and I tried to find a connection between my hobbies and what I would be studying, and that's how I've realized that I've always somehow managed to combine mathematics or analytical thinking with creativity. And IBA is, I would say, a perfect balance between quantitative and qualitative subjects. So I would also advise to not only focus on the academics, but also take a look at interests in general.
Yeah, very good advice. And if I may add, so let's say you choose economics, for your bachelor, you can always do a master in business. So we have a lot of students who started with business economics in the bachelor, and then they continued with a master at RSM. So that's also an option. Probably the other way around is also possible. It kind of depends a bit on what sort of master you want to do. But a lot of the IBA students from business economics are also eligible for our master programs, for most of our master programs. The master is 1 year. There's one master which is 18 months, but the majority of the masters is 1 year. So that's also an option. Like, we could start with. Sorry? All the masters with IBA are 1 year, except for one that's longer. So that's also an option for you. Okay, start with economics if you're really more focused on that, and then you can also do the masters. Or the other way around. I'm sure there are students who started with a bachelor, IBA, and continued with a master in economics. So that's also an option. Okay. Okay,
Hi.
next, yeah?
I was wondering, for those of you who are going to take the master's degree, are you going to take it here, or are you going to be going elsewhere, maybe in the UK or elsewhere in Europe, in the States? And if the IBA has good connections to masters elsewhere?
I mean, I can try to answer. I'd say that I'm not sure yet. Also, I will definitely apply to a lot of the masters in RSM, the one I'm interested in, sorry, and also abroad, because I really enjoy this international experience, and I also like maybe to take it further and discover also other places. And it's really also up to you, because if you look at the alumni here, you'll definitely see some people that stay in RSM, and there are large amount of people that stay here in RSM. However, there are also people that are studying for their master in the UK, in France, in Italy, Germany, or in a lot of the, let's say, university you can think about.
Okay, thank you.
And if I can add on to that, so I think looking at the statistic, like 58% of the people that graduate from this IBA Bachelor, they actually do a master's here at RSM as well. So more than half of the people do pursue a master here at RSM after their Bachelor.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Related to that question, maybe, we learned that in third year you have exchange programs in Europe. How easy to do that? Do you have any experience or to go to other universities in the world in the third year exchange?
Yeah, so we don't, because we're all second year students, we don't have experience yet. Our application just opened, so I'm pretty sure most of us are probably applying. I just know that there's about 400 people every year that go on exchange from RSM, and we have up to almost 200 partner universities all over the world. So there's a lot of good ranked universities in there, Bocconi, St. Gallen if you're looking at Europe, and National University of Singapore if you're looking international. So there's a lot of opportunities, and a lot of people do that because it's just such a unique experience, and I think most of us are also planning on doing that, but we don't yet have any, like how it is to actually apply because we just started, yeah.
Yeah, usually application for the exchange opens, in the second year. So you're going to do your exchange in the third year, and then as of the second year, you can apply. Anyone else? I see a couple of hands, but
yes. Could you describe a typical week and how you basically manage your social life, studies, sports, please?
I think in terms of managing social life and academic life, it's very doable as long as you have good time management skills, because in terms of the amount of lectures per week, I would say it's usually between
12 and 14, something about, like you have 12 to 14 hours of face-to-face lectures.
Yes, so I would say around, let's say, 5-6 lectures per week. And in terms of self-studying, it really depends on the person, but it's usually, I would say, 5 hours per day, 4 hours, sometimes could be a little bit more if you're working on projects. But me, myself, I have never restricted myself to just academic life. I still went out with friends, let's say, for dinner, and managed to balance it with sports. So I would say it's very doable as long as you stick to the deadlines and you impose a little bit of that, I would say, self-discipline, which was not maybe as needed in high school, but here it's quite a lot of self-studying. So, but I would say it's very doable.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, so I was wondering if you could talk more about the student environment here, such as, I don't know, like associations, and also about making friends, and also maybe the positive and the negative aspects of student life here.
I can say that, for example, making friends, it ended up with really being super easy, because when you arrive here, you usually have this Eureka Week if you attend, and I would recommend every new student to attend because it's a really good opportunity to meet a lot of people. So during a couple of days, you're just having a lot of activities, also discovering the city and your fellow future classmates. And
For the student environments, in terms of associations, you also have plenty of opportunities to join, whether it would be more academic related associations such as consulting or investment, or sport association, you also have plenty of them. Student representative can also be interested, so being some sort of a link between professors and students. So you have high chance of finding something that will suit you.
I would also say for student life, maybe the parents are not so much interested in this, but there's like a student association called Erasmus Student Network. They host weekly parties on Tuesday. Maybe that's interesting for the children or for the young people here. Also, there's, as he said, or as she said, she's part of the Enactus Association where you do startups. There's another academic thing, Case Club from RSM, where you do kind of consulting competitions. Sports, there's so many sports associations. You can, for any sport, there's something there. And I would say, also agree with him that you can find friends pretty easily, even if you're not going to Eureka Week. I went to the freshman weekend trip, so I met most of my friends there. And because everyone's in the same boat, everyone is looking to make friends, so it's actually quite easy to make friends. I think people always are. I also was the same. I was too concerned about, oh, is it going to work out? Am I going to make friends? But because everyone's looking so hard to make friends, it actually becomes quite easy to get to know a lot of people and make nice friendships.
Yeah, and also we have a lot of cultural associations, so maybe for the internationals who kind of miss home a bit, we have plenty of cultural associations. For example, I am part of the Chinese Student Association, so you basically just hang out with people like that are interested in your culture, but you also have, for example, the Indonesian Association, French Association. I think you have literally like associations for every country. So yeah, a lot of cultural associations as well.
Thank you. There's a lady on the third row. Yeah, the one with the striped blouse. Yes.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about so in the curriculum you basically said that there's a lot about entrepreneurship and then the strategic business plan. So I wanted to ask what parts of the curriculum sort of prepare you and give you leadership skills that you can use in your career later?
I think a great example of that is the course that we're having currently, so Responsible Business Leadership, which has leadership in its name, which looks at how to manage the business from the sustainable side, because RSM puts great attention into being sustainable and very future-oriented, because sustainability is the future right now. So, for example, with the responsible business leadership, you get to also work on a group project where you're giving a multinational company, and you're assigned one of the SDGs, so Sustainable Development Goals, to that company. And you also need to do a little bit of a consultant role with this company. So analyze it strategically according to this goal. And I think it really boosts your leadership skills and also team working. So.
I would also, to add on, from my personal experience, I feel like a lot of the courses, given that the school is called Rotterdam School of Management, you really see that in the courses. A lot of them are focused on managing and management, so leading people. For example, the course we had in the first block of one of our first courses was called Marketing Management, and then it's not really about how to post a social media story, but more about how to manage a marketing strategy. And it's more about how to manage things and do executive decisions, less than about the individual decisions. So yeah, a lot of leadership skills are being taught here, I would say.
Okay, next question.
Good afternoon.
Oh,
could you share your experience?
Sorry, no, from a different. Oh, sorry, yes.
Could you share your experience of the admission process to this course from the time you applied, and what were the steps that you went through and how it went in general?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd like to know your experience.
A specific program that you're interested in?
In general, from the students panel.
So you're the admissions process, basically, once you, how did you start with StudyLink, Olaf and stuff?
Yes, so it started with, we needed to register on StudyLink.
And then to fill out all the information we had in, we need to submit like with Olaf, I think it was called. And so basically everything was super straightforward. Just our diploma, motivation, of course, and proof of English. And then we didn't have any interview, so after the application was sent, we could just wait for the results. And then we just got our ranking number, and based on that, we were able to know whether we would be admitted or waitlisted. And that's basically it, I think.
I would also say I also applied to Maastricht for the business program there, and I found that IBA is really easy to apply to. It's it's made really convenient for you because you only have to submit your diploma like that and do the motivational questions. I can still recommend, obviously, start early. It doesn't hurt to start early, but it's not that difficult to apply. And once you're, as you already said, once you're done with applying, you just wait for the results, and then you can see whether you're admitted immediately or wait for that on the waiting list. And so if you're just thinking about maybe doing it, I can just recommend you to apply. Obviously, Numerous Fixes program, if you're not familiar with it, you can only apply to 2 programs that have a limited number of students in the Netherlands. But if you're not thinking about having any restrictions there, just apply. It doesn't hurt, and in the end, you can always change your mind. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Oh, yeah. This gentleman, go ahead.
Yes, hello.
Thank you.
I would like to know a bit more about housing. Maybe you're all for living on the campus, I don't know. But for those who are not living on the campus, I know new buildings are being built, but travel time, yeah, I know self-discipline, 4 or 5 hours per day studying. What can you tell us about travel time for those not living on the campus, and if they're not living on the campus, are students living outside of Rotterdam even, traveling in from The Hague, Delft, Utrecht? Yeah, any information would be appreciated.
So I think we're all aware of the tough housing situation in the Netherlands. So to start off, my pro tip is definitely start looking for accommodation as early as possible. Once you know you're enrolled, just look for housing. But I think I can say none of us lives on campus.
No, I lived on campus actually last year. So you can there's a limited amount of student housing only for internationals and only in the first year. So after the first year, you're kicked out. And then you have to find something else. So all of us probably now don't live on campus. When you live on campus, obviously, commute is pretty easy. But now I live in the city center, so that's like a 10-minute bike ride. I know some people that come from Delft or The Hague, but most of the people that don't live in Rotterdam mainly live with their parents. So it's Dutch students that live with their parents. Many internationals find housing, most find housing in Rotterdam, and given public transport and biking, it's pretty doable to go to campus quite quickly. Some people might have a commute of like 30 minutes, which I think is still doable if you just like sitting in the tram, or a nice bike ride of 20 minutes, I also don't complain. So yeah, it doesn't get too extreme, I would say, but obviously sometimes you're unlucky and then you're living on the far side of the city, but it's still pretty okay to come to campus.
I would say that last year I lived quite far away from university. I had around 6 kilometers by bike, just one way. So I would say that definitely it was not the easiest, especially when it was raining and it was windy, but because I was biking. But I think I have never met a person that did not find housing in the end in Rotterdam or around Rotterdam. So just, I know it might get tough and rough, but just try to look for it as early as possible, and I'm sure you will be able to find something.
Okay, thank you. There's a question over here. I see a hand over there. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys obviously made a CV, correct? I was wondering, are there any like tips and tricks that you could give, or maybe things that you particularly put inside your CV, which may help this?
So
Yeah, for the CV. So while you CV, we do ask for the CV, but it's not really considered for the evaluation. So basically, it's your grades and motivation. Although we do ask for a CV, but sometimes it's handy for the evaluation process because some students may have changed education systems or went to a different school. So then we can see from the CV, oh, you know, they went from A levels to IB or the other way around. However, for the motivation, you can use, you know, anything that you've written in your CV, any activities that you've done, you can sort of incorporate it in your motivation. So, I mean, yeah. So we need the CV as more, but it's not really used, you know, in terms of you get points for it. That's more for motivation.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Also during your first year, if the CV is the motivation, like how to write motivation, how to do a CV, something that you're probably concerned about, of course. But you will have a professional development course where you will also get a lot of insight from a mentor to help you do a better CV, to also how to write a motivation letter, and like some general tips and tricks to how to get more professional experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we also have the Career Center who can help you with your CV. So, you know, for later on when you're going to apply for a job, but even for an internship or whatever. Anyone else? I see a hand over there, all the way to the left. Oh, is someone? Oh.
If you're trying to get in and you meet the basic requirements of mathematics and English, does the economics grade also play a role in getting you in, or is that not a factor at Dutch VWO?
So all your grades for which are listed on your grade list will be considered for. So I mean, it's included in your calculation for your grade average.
So it's not that economics plays a more important role than...
No.
Okay.
It's just that. So English and mathematics, so that's the requirement that you have to meet, at least the minimum requirement. And then obviously for the grade average, all your grades are included in the calculation for your grade average. So if you're not doing very well in one subject, that may, you know, bring down your grade average.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, there's a gentleman over
I
there.
have two questions. One is AI is changing a lot the way the world moves. How does the IBA program prepare you to that? And is that integrated in the courses?
So I know that in the first and second year you have all your standard courses, but in third year you can actually choose after the exchange, you choose a track, and these are changing sometimes given the situations in the world. And right now there's a track which is focused on AI and connected world, I think the track is called. I'm not 100% sure because it's next year, but so there's like a focus that you, if you are looking to focus on AI, you can in your third year choose to specialize a bit more in the field of AI and business AI related things. So that's something that would tie there.
And to each of you, if you had to say what is the most exciting part of the IBA program, what would you say for you?
Exciting part? I would say probably like the assignments where you get to work with real companies, because you just gain a lot of hands-on experience and your work actually makes an impact. So yeah, the most exciting thing would probably be working with real companies here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's also some experience options in second year where you can also expand your horizon a bit more, and there's a course, for example, called I Do, where you can consult NGOs, actually real NGOs somewhere, everywhere in the world, and I'm part of that course, and I'm consulting an NGO in Tanzania, and that's something that really is like just very dear to me, because like I see that these people are trying to make an impact in Tanzania about conservation of wildlife, and I, as a student here in Rotterdam, can actually make an impact in their mission, and that's something that really excites me.
Okay, thank you. I think we have time for one more question, maybe. Anyone else? Oh, there's, well, lots of hands now. The microphone is over there.
Yeah, okay, so what were the main points that made you choose to study here in Rotterdam against other universities in Europe? What does make this university so outstanding for you?
I would say that for me, I was paying attention to RSM's place in rankings a lot. It was very important for me that I choose one of the top business schools in Europe and the one that is recognized also worldwide. The second fact is Rotterdam as city itself and how many career and business opportunities it offers, because yeah, we all know it has the biggest harbor in Europe, and also plenty of companies have their headquarters here, which is also very important for me career-wise for the future or for the internships. And also what really spoke to me with IBA at RSM is putting always theory into practice and the international environment within the course itself, but also the international student associations, so the people that you meet.
Yeah, there's, okay, lots of hands now. Sorry. Yeah, we don't have much time, so I'm just going to allow one or two questions.
Oh, thank you very much. So we're talking about you a lot, about this school being very international and English is the language of choice. Could we possibly also talk about the faculty, about your professors, lecturers? Who are we looking at? Are these native tongue English speakers? Are they, from which countries do they come? A little bit about the interaction between you and the professors, because I can imagine with 750 students, I don't know if the professor actually knows your name. So these are kind of my questions. Thank you.
Well, for the international part also applies for the professors. So we do have international professors as well as Dutch professors, of course. And for the interaction part, I say, of course, with such a large cohort, it's really dependent on how motivated you are to ask for more interaction. So the professors are usually really welcoming for students to come after the class or during the break to ask any question. Also, we have workshops where it might be a bit easier sometimes to talk to either sometimes professors or teaching assistants. And yeah, so that's basically it in terms of interaction. If someone is really willing to communicate and to interact with the professor, they will have the opportunity to do so, I'd say.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to stop now because lots of people, the session is over. If you have questions for the students, they are at the stand, so don't worry, they're not leaving. Thank you all for coming. Also for those watching at home, thank you. And thank you, students.
Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, hey. Die staat uit, toch? Er staat geen gate aan. Voor de zekerheid draai ik hem even terug. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. Ja, het staat niet. Het is niet dat ik. Hey, 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 hey. Voor de zekerheid dan maar.
Hij komt bij mij overigens wel gewoon binnen in het support center.
Ja.
Daar had ik, kreeg ik, kom het wel gewoon allemaal binnen. Dus de opnames is op zich goed.
Oké. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey.
Is the sound working? Yes, perfect. Hello, everyone. It's such a pleasure to see such a big group of people today. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to share with you how IBA was for me, what I did during and after IBA, and a bit about my IBA journey. Now, my purpose for today is not to convince you to do IBA. It's simply to give you and your parents or family members, I see you, quite some of you came with parents probably, which is great to see. So to give you an idea of what IBA looks like and to make an informed decision if this program is for you. And please know that every experience is different. I'm just going to give you a glimpse into what IBA looked like for me. Are there any topics for now that you want to cover, that you're thinking you came in this session with some topics in mind that you would like to cover? If you think of any, shout, just to make sure that I cover everything. And we're going to have time for questions at the end as well. But if there's any burning topic that you have in mind right now, you can shout. What would you like to know? Yeah? Okay, so why IBA in Rotterdam other than other cities in the Netherlands? Yeah, good. Anything else that's on your mind? Yeah?
Like maybe what the job opportunities look like or the job market in general, or what you had in mind when you started studying?
Yeah. Okay.
For the future?
Job opportunities, what I had in mind, definitely. Love that question, future outlook, love it. Anything else? Yeah?
It's a good path to go and work in the finance environment, like VC or compared to, for example, IBA.
Yeah, very good question. Okay, so is it a good path, also future opportunities to work in finance? I don't see any more hands raised, so let's start, and I'm going to cover these topics. If there's something else in the end, yeah? Dutch. Learning Dutch. Yeah, yeah. I can already answer that question now because I don't have it covered in my presentation. It's very useful to know Dutch, to really integrate in the local culture, and some companies you'll have an advantage if you know Dutch. So basically, it is useful to know the language, yeah. All right, let's start, and then we can take more questions as they come. Before I introduce myself, I just want to get to know you a bit better. And I know probably you've been moving quite a bit today from session to session, but I want you to move a bit more, just to get a bit more energy in the beginning. So I want you to stand up if you're still a high school student. Let's see how many high school students we have in the room. All right, quite some. Love that. I see quite some logistics of standing up. Make sure that there's nothing around you because you're going to have to stand up a bit more. Stand up if you're a parent. I think just as many as high school students, we have parents in the room. Welcome, great to have you here. Now, stand up if you're from the Netherlands, if you're a Dutchie. Amazing, quite some. Most of the people are from the Netherlands, I see. Great, thank you. Stand up if you've traveled more than 3 hours to be here today. All right. Not that many, quite a few. Stand up if you're outside of Europe, if you're from outside of Europe. Is there someone who's from outside of Europe? Where are you from? South Africa. You traveled all the way from South Africa for this open day. No? Ah, you live here, but okay, makes sense. Great. Stand up if you know for sure that you want to study IBA. All right, the couple. Let's see who is going to keep standing up for this one, and this is the last one. Stand up if you know for sure you want to study IBA at RSM. We have a couple. Great to know that. Let's see if this session is going to change your mind. Hopefully not, because I only have good things to say. Great. Thank you so much for joining in this icebreaker. I'm going to introduce myself, and then I'm going to give you a glimpse into what it looked like for me to be part of IBA. So my name is Bianca Bănică. I'm originally from Romania. I studied IBA in 2000. I started IBA in 2018. I finished in 2021. And actually, the major reason why I stayed in the Netherlands after IBA is because of this cool initiative called Liversity. It started as a project of the Erasmus University, and now it became an academic startup. We were offering soft skills courses to students, professionals, and companies. And I became a public speaking trainer during my studies, and I stayed here to further build this startup. At the same time, I'm currently working in business development for another startup from Delft. Who here knows Delft in the Netherlands? Okay, quite a lot of people. It's close to Rotterdam. It's a smaller city close to Rotterdam. And I basically do sales. We sell, it's a very, very unique product. They developed a solution to detect cracks in steel structures. Bridges, cranes, for example, in ports. Very interesting, very different domain, just so you can get an idea of how broad you can go with IBA. You can be an entrepreneur, you can work in finance, you can be in sales, you can work in literally any industry. And a couple of reasons of why I chose IBA, maybe you can identify with some of them. The first one is that in high school, when I was in high school, I always liked more straightforward courses, like maths, chemistry, really subjects that had to do with numbers. I was not into philosophy or arts. And that gave me a bit of an indication that business might be good for me. Second reason is the fact that I joined ISEC. Who here knows ISEC? Okay, good. Quite some people. ISEC is a student organization that develops the leadership potential in people. I managed the project in ISEC, and I really got a glimpse into what it was like to manage a team. I did everything from finance, marketing, recruiting, so on and so forth. So I really got a glimpse into what business would look like, and I really loved it. Now, the third reason, and this was most important for me, although I knew I wanted to study business, I didn't know what exactly about business. Is it that I really like, or I'm really passionate about, or what I wanted to go into? And because it's such a wide range of subjects, IBA really opens up your horizon. You study marketing, you study human resources, you study finance, economics, you study maths. So the opportunities are endless. And because you have all these subjects, you can specialize further on the subject that raised your interest. And lastly, the international dimension is something that, coming from a small city in Romania, I never had a lot of international people there. They were more local. And you can imagine people at IBA are from different places: Singapore, Australia, Latin America, Europe, US. You literally feel like you're traveling without actually moving your feet, basically. So this was a big, big plus for me. Now, why IBA at RSM specifically? The first one is the opportunities. And what I'm referring to here is not just professional opportunities, but also personal opportunities. The fact that you have a wide range of topics that you cover, you have the opportunity to go and explore this for yourself afterwards or during your studies by joining projects, student organizations, attending events, going on exchange, doing an internship, doing a minor. So there are a lot of opportunities around you to dive deeper into what raises your interest. And I'm going to give you a story of the projects I've done, the organizations I've joined during my studies, just to give you an idea of what it could look like. So I stayed with ISEC. I was part of ISEC in the Netherlands for a while. I mentioned they develop the leadership potential in people, but what they do exactly, they send people abroad and they receive people for internships and exchanges, in short. And through this, they expose them to different cultures and they develop their inner leadership. I was also part of ESN, Erasmus Student Network. Does anyone know ESN? Okay, not that many. It's an Erasmus Student Network. They take care of international students, exchange students in general as well. I was the chairwoman of the sports committee. I've always been passionate about sports, so I wanted to see what it was like to organize sports events, and I managed a team of 5 people in my first IBA year. Now, this one is a tricky one, because I put this university from Singapore in there because I was supposed to do an exchange at Nanyang Technological University. In your last year of IBA, you have the opportunity to do an exchange, internship, or choose a minor, so choose to study something else, another course. I chose an exchange initially. I was very excited about it. And I got my plane ticket. I got everything settled. But we were one of the unlucky years where COVID came, and the exchange got canceled, which brought another opportunity. Although there was obviously, it was a sad moment, I reorientated myself, and I went to do an internship at Toyota in Brussels. And that opened a lot of opportunities again. I worked in diversity and inclusion during my third year. When I came back, I had already a part-time job for a consulting company in diversity and inclusion while I was finishing IBA. I'm going to tell you more about it in a bit, because I don't want to get too much into the path afterwards, but this was during IBA. Now, going into after IBA, I did an internship at Amazon. I think everyone is familiar with Amazon. And the funny story here is that after IBA, I was planning to do a master straight away. I applied for the master. I got accepted, also at RSM. I have a master in human resource management. So I wanted to do it right away after IBA, but an opportunity from Amazon came. And what I mean by that, it literally came to me. I didn't plan to defer my master to take a gap year. A recruiter from Amazon contacted me on LinkedIn, and she said, "We have this project management internship available. Are you interested?" I said, "Okay, why not? Sure." I was very open. Honestly, I just wanted to do the interviews for the experience. Because my mom would always say, just go do your master first, and then you can work. To make sure, parents, just making sure that we finish all our studies before we can go work full-time. Although I had this in mind, I proceeded with the recruitment process, and the recruiter applied on my behalf. I had a couple of interviews, got accepted, did an internship in Amazon in Luxembourg. So I took a gap year. For the last part of my gap year after Amazon, I was working for this consulting company. It was a remote job, and I was with diversity teaching public speaking to students and professionals. So this was a bit of my path. I just want to mention that a very interesting insight I got from the recruiter from Amazon. I talked to her afterwards. When I got to Luxembourg, she said that she loves people from RSM at Amazon. Recruiters love people from RSM, and they literally recruit people from RSM, and that's how they headhunted me as well. And I think it's all about opportunities. Second are the people. And obviously, the international dimension I already mentioned, but the people are super crazy. Crazy in the good way. In the way that they push their potential, in the way that they think that there's no limit, in the way that they want to be better every day, in the way that they inspire you and challenge you to want to constantly improve. It's a mindset that is built in these people that will inspire you to go beyond your comfort zone and to get better every day. And it's a mindset that helps you be resilient, but also builds this business attitude, business outlook on life, and build your critical skills, your teamwork skills, because you can imagine you're working with such diverse people. Everyone has their own way of working, and you have to adapt. You have to constantly learn how to work together. And this is exactly what you're going to have to do in your job later on. And it also encourages you to have this entrepreneurial mindset, finding your own solutions to certain problems. And this brings me to the forward way of teaching. So forward-thinking way of teaching. What I mean is, in my high school, I wasn't very satisfied with the current educational system. Who here can relate to that? Who here is not very satisfied with the way education is done currently? In your high school or wherever you are. Okay, a couple of people. Yeah, I can relate to that. And I was really looking for a course that would value people for what they are. They're open to feedback. The teachers I was super surprised. They were so open to the students' feedback, they would implement it right away. And they really value your opinion. We had student representatives that gathered the feedback of people, of students, and they would be in touch constantly with the professor. So you could really see that you are valued. Your opinion matters, literally. And I do think that there was a great combination between theory and practice. It was not just theory, but we had a strategic business plan where we actually worked with a real company, solved their problem or identified some problems that they had and proposed solutions. So it's a really, I think, nice way of teaching that prepares you for the life afterwards or gives you the skills that you need to thrive. So to wrap this up, IBA is a mindset that it's not easy. It's a lot of long hours. It's quite some studying. You have to work hard, and you have to really organize yourself in such a way that, because there's also a lot of freedom. You have some lectures, but you have quite tight deadlines. So you have to make sure that you're on top of it. But it is a mindset that you will carry with you for the rest of your life, and that will enable you to literally achieve whatever you want. I'm very inspired every time I talk or do something with IBA students. I used to teach a professional development course for IBA students as well during my master, and it's always a pleasure to see how thirsty they are for knowledge, to improve, to want to do more, to learn about stuff, to contribute, to help each other. It's really a community. It's really the mindset that will set you up for success afterwards. And now some people asked about what are the opportunities after finishing IBA. If IBEB is better for a career in finance. I cannot tell you about IBEB because I don't know much information about it. What I know is that IBA is definitely really good for a career in finance, also VC investments. I do have some colleagues from my cohort that have started their career in finance and are quite successful. So I think any path that you set your mind to in the business field, you're very likely to succeed. I didn't have a course in sales, and I'm doing sales now. It's really about the mindset that you're building and the knowledge that you're gaining through different courses that set the foundation. And from there, you can literally go anywhere. The opportunities are limitless. So what I did personally after IBA, I told you about this consulting company, right, that I worked for. This was Pluribus. It's called Pluribus. It was a remote job. I worked for them for 4 years in total. I started before I finished IBA, actually, and then continued during my master. And after I finished my master, I worked full-time for them, because before it was a part-time job. What I did, I started with working in operations, project management, and then sales and procurement. Now, at the same time, I was building this startup that I was telling you about, so teaching people public speaking and building Liversity as an academic startup. By the way, if you do decide to come to RSM and study IBA, you will be able probably to take some courses from Liversity, because we're still active on campus, although a bit less on campus, more active outside. I think it's just such a cool opportunity that the university funded this project in the beginning, that you can think of, we used to have, now not that many courses, but we used to have leadership courses, we used to have teamwork courses, we had mindfulness, we had personal finance, we had Gen AI, generative AI, right? It's a big topic. We had public speaking, assertive communication. Literally any soft skill that you can think of, we had a course on that. We're working to bring them back now. Currently, I pivoted into structural health monitoring for this company called Villary in Delft, which is a really cool innovation, and I think it's an exciting time. Probably, I'm not sure, does anyone know anything about structural health monitoring or asset integrity? They're very complicated words, but any parents that work in this field, yeah? Okay, I see 2 of them. It's very niche, but just to give you, again, an idea of how niche you can go or how broad you can go in terms of industries. It has to do with anything that steel structure around you, bridges, the cranes that unload the containers imports. That's what we do, basically. We detect the cracks in there. So this is the route I'm taking now, while still being with Liversity, but I'm really building my career in sales at the moment. And because I want to wrap up this presentation and leave some space for questions, I want to leave you with some food for thought. Whatever program you choose, remember that it's not just about the degree. It's really about the people, the experiences, and the skills that you will gain throughout your program that will help you shape your future. And I want to share an analogy with you to leave you to think about after this session. The way I see IBA, for me, IBA was not just a degree. It was really like a full first-class experience. And why I'm mentioning this is, imagine you, as an IBA freshman, you start your first year with a pizza dough. Like you have a pizza dough, there's just a dough. It's just empty, with no toppings on top. Throughout your IBA years, as you progress with your studies, you add the different topics on the pizza dough. But those topics are individual. Those topics represent the projects that you're joining, the events you're attending, the internships you're doing, the exchanges you're going on, the courses that you study, the people that you meet. The beauty of IBA is that at the end of your studies, each and every single student is going to have a different pizza dough. You're going to have a beautiful pizza at the end, but each pizza is going to be unique with the topics that you chose for yourself actively to pursue during your studies, based on your interests, and based on the topics that you wanted to dive deeper into. Now, why I'm saying actively pursuing is because, yes, there are a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of student organizations. The opportunities for internships and exchanges are endless, but nobody is going to hand you these opportunities on a platter. You have to actually go and get them yourself. You can imagine it's a sea of opportunities. You just have to grab the right ones. And if one is not the right one for you, you drop it. It's perfectly fine. It's a two-way decision. It's not a decision that's irreversible. This was the first picture that I took when I came to Rotterdam. And I think it represents the city of Rotterdam very well. It says, in Rotterdam, you'll never walk alone. I've been here for quite some years, and I never felt alone. It's a very vibrant city when the sun is out. I'm joking. I do feel like, although you don't see people on the street when it's raining and it's storming, which is often the case of Dutch winters, there's always someone around you. You'll never get bored. There's always something happening. It's really like a community. But the beautiful part is that IBA has 500, 600 students, which is the real community that you're joining. So once you are part of IBA, you can never go back, basically. No, I'm joking. You belong to this alumni network that you can reach out to wherever you are in the world. You know that they'll always be there for you. So I think we got a question from someone there. Why Rotterdam? Why not the University of Amsterdam or the University of Maastricht, I think. I did research as well. When I chose IBA, I did research those universities. For me, why I chose Rotterdam, I don't know the quality of education there. I don't know about the opportunities there because I didn't do that deep of research. Why I chose Rotterdam is also because of RSM's ranking. I really genuinely like the school. It really attracted me. The opportunities here, but also the city. I feel like the city is so interestingly shaped. I don't know how familiar you are, but if you go to Kralingen, you have the more Dutch part, more greenery, the houses, the cute houses. If you go to the Maas Boulevard, you have the skyline of Rotterdam. I think it's such a powerful combination that the city has, and it has so much to offer. So this also contributed to my decision. And lastly, and then I'm going to end, and we'll have time for questions. If you choose IBA, it's going to be an amazing journey. It's not going to be easy, definitely, but it's going to be very amazing and fulfilling. And if I could go back to 2018 and choose between IBA at RSM or IBA somewhere else or just another study, I would still choose IBA over and over again. And I do miss those days when I was an IBA student sometimes. So whatever choice you make, think about these 3 words on the screen that are blue, because it's not just about the degree, but it's also about the skills that the degree is building in you, the opportunities that you're having, the experiences, and the people. So I'm going to end the presentation here. If you want to keep in touch, we can do that through LinkedIn. You can scan the QR code on the screen. And now we have quite some time for some questions. So any question that you have that is left unanswered, feel free to shout. We have some lovely helpers that are going to go around the room with a microphone. Yes?
So I heard about exchange student program that happens in like the 3rd year of IBA, and I wanted to know if that also like helps after IBA, like working internationally. Like if you get like an opportunity to work in another country you've never been before, does like the exchange student program also help you to do better in like your career and working abroad?
I think so. You're asking about the exchange program, not the honors program, right? Just to make sure.
Yes,
yeah.
The exchange program.
Exchange program. I think this is really preferential choice. It's really literally a choice. I wouldn't say one helps you more than the other. I wouldn't say exchange helps you more than internship. I think both give you certain experiences that would both help you find a job afterwards, will both help you shape who you are very differently, but will both shape your personality and will both give you very strong skills. The reason I chose an exchange and not an internship first, maybe, and that's going to help you, is because I wasn't rushing to actually work. I really wanted to see what it's like to study in another country than the Netherlands and Romania before. So I was just very curious about having this student life in another country and studying maybe different courses. Now I ended up doing an internship, which I also don't regret because it gave me the skills that I needed in diversity and inclusion. It opened up a door to work for this consulting company. So I think every choice you make is going to be a good one because it's going to lead you to a path. And then if you don't like the path you're on, you can always readjust. Yeah, but it is a hard choice, and that's why, to add on that, I think now IBA has, well, we didn't have that opportunity during my cohort because they changed the structure afterwards, but I think now you have an add-on year or a sandwich year where you can do both an exchange and an internship, so you don't have to choose, because it's a hard choice. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, here. Yeah, very good question. Thank you. Why did I choose my master in human resource management? Indeed, I'm not doing anything with it. I mean, not directly. I'm not working in HR for a company. I chose it because I loved training. I love training people. I love diversity. I was training people on public speaking. I was training people to be better. So I chose my master with that in mind, that I would work into training. It would give me more insights into people, which it did, definitely. I learned so much about people. I learned so much about training programs. And then talking to some people that are working in training in organizations, I realized that I would miss a bit of the business side. Because it's very, very people-oriented, but I think I realized that I want to try something else first. I might end up in HR in the future, but for now I switched a bit to sales, but I chose it basically because I was very curious about people. I wanted to learn more from an academic perspective. And in my first year of IBA, I had this course, Organizational Behavior, which was one of my favorite courses. And I was thinking, I want to learn more about organizations, people, the way they embrace change, the way organizations are structured, the way training programs are developed. And it definitely has helped me so much in my experiences as well in the consulting company now. At Diversity, I had to recruit people. I managed 3 interns. So it's helped me a lot, but yeah, basically because I was really curious about people, learning more about it. You're welcome. Yes?
Hello, Bianca. Thank you so much for your presentation. I wanted to ask you a question, whether something called the ECE, Erasmus Center for Entrepreneurship, anyhow helped you with your startup, and generally, how was the path towards building it? When did you start? Was it the first year? What were the ups and downs?
Yeah, a lot to start on, honest, to talk about starting a startup. ECE did help us in a way because we joined a program that I had for an accelerator program that they had for startups. It was a 3-day program spread across 3 months, so 1 day per month. And it did help us in thinking about, on purpose, what is our mission, vision, where do we want to go, what values do we have, because I have 2 co-founders. We didn't raise investment, we didn't go further with that. We literally wanted to make our own money from selling our courses. Now, ups and downs, we started the startup in 2000, so last year was 2024. Since 2019, we had been giving courses only to students, mostly. And in 2024, we had to reorganize ourselves, and we started giving courses to professionals and companies outside of the university. And that's when we started shaping it as a startup. There were many ups and downs. It's a very tough market. It's really hard to get clients because there are a lot of people giving communication and public speaking training. It's really hard to differentiate yourself, but at the same time, learning what the best way to get clients is. And when you land that client and you give the workshop and you see the impact you're creating, it's always a high that's gonna overshadow the low. So I mean, it's a journey. It's definitely a journey, and it's been a great learning journey. I did, for now, lower a bit my commitment in the startup because of my new job that I just got at Villery, but I'm still a trainer. So we're doing some stuff again for students. We'll see where it's gonna go, and maybe if you come to RSM, you're gonna see it.
Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, there's a question there as well.
How has job availability changed since the rise of AI in business?
I think, well, very good question. Thank you for the question. Oh, I cannot see you because of the light. Thank you for lowering, for making some more light. I think that jobs have been shifting. Some jobs are no longer needed. Some new jobs are appearing. This is a constant change. The world, honestly, right now is changing so fast. Even compared to when I started IBA, there are so many new jobs that I have never heard of. For example, Chief Officer of Failure. Have you ever heard of someone that is hired just to fail, to experiment and fail and see what works and what doesn't? So I think people are scared about AI taking over our jobs and our jobs no longer existing, but this is a skill, a crucial skill that IBA develops as well, which is adaptability. You need to be adaptable, and there are always going to be new jobs. And as long as you have a strong foundation in your skills and mindset, I think you can always find the right job for you. Yeah, any more questions? Yeah, there's a question here. That's a very good question. When I was a student, I don't know currently, but when I was a student, we had 60% international students and 40% Dutch. So more internationals than Dutch. Yeah. Yes, question there.
So you mentioned that you Amazon, and I wanted to know going to be students at RSM get internships
get internships at multinational companies. Yeah. So the question. Thank you for the question. The question is, if I have any tips for students trying to get internships at multinational companies. My first one is, it is about what you do, it is about who you are, but it's also about who you know. So build your network, be visible, ask questions in class, network with your professors, with your classmates, get involved in projects, in student organizations, go for that research assistant position or teaching assistant position if it sparks your interest. So basically, don't just do your studies. People appreciate when you're active and you don't know where the opportunity comes from. I've done so many things during my studies, probably I didn't mention all of them. I was a student ambassador myself for IBA and also my master. So because you know people, you build your network, you join staff, you don't know who's going to be at that event that you have the opportunity to speak to. So I would say be active. Go proactively for different opportunities. Any other questions? Yes? There, up there.
What's the one thing that you did that really helped you meet more people and network and have a better...
One thing, I think it's a combination of things. It's going to stuff, attending stuff. I did go to lectures. Not all lectures were mandatory, but I did go to lectures just because I was genuinely curious about the courses. Even if we had a course, we don't have it anymore. We had a course called methodology, and in IBA you'll have some courses that you like, you'll have some courses that you like a bit less. I didn't necessarily enjoy methodology as a course, but I was very curious about what they're gonna teach in the course. And you will always see the same people coming to lectures if it's not mandatory. So you build a bit of that friend group with who you sit at lectures and who comes to lectures. Now, I built a couple of friends outside of IBA as well through different student organizations. So I was part of ISEC, I was part of Erasmus Student Network, then I was teaching Bachelor, well, professional development, also during my second and third year in IBA. So I became friends with the other teaching assistants they were doing different masters as well. So it's exactly what I shared before, go out and do stuff. If there's an event, I don't know, there's a networking event, there's a career fair, go out and meet people. And there's another topic is how do you start a conversation? I think the mindset that you should have whenever you go into these events or whenever you go to anywhere, literally, is a mindset of curiosity and openness. It's not necessarily trying to get something out of it or trying to make friends, but just being curious of who's out there, what is their journey, what can I share, what can I learn from them, what can I teach them. So having this general mindset of curiosity really helps. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Let's see, do we have time for one more question? Yeah. Does anyone have any other questions?
What would you say were other remarkable or memorable projects that other students funded besides your startup?
Another project, well, there were some student organizations that were founded quite recently. I think, I'm not sure which one specifically, but ethnically, there is the Eastern European Student Organization, there is the Surinamese Student Organization, and they're quite new. There's also the New Fashion Society in terms of student organizations. Other people from my bachelor or the people that I was teaching in IBA founded a company, a startup, for parties, organizing parties for students, or giving private classes for students in certain topics that were a bit harder. Now I see one of the students that I was teaching now has built a startup in AI digital storytelling. So somehow he captures the notes in a digital storytelling way. Yeah, these are the few ones that I can think of.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course. Are there any other unanswered questions? We have 2 more minutes. Yes, in the back.
Where did you go for your exchange, and what did you learn there?
Yeah, so my exchange was supposed to take place in Singapore. It got canceled because of COVID, so I didn't go eventually. But I chose Singapore. The reason for that is just because it was such a new culture for me, and I was just very open. I was just ready for a strong culture shock. I cannot tell you what I learned there because I've never been. But what I hear my colleagues, no, not colleagues, but people from higher years that were studying back then, went on exchange, they told me amazing stories of really long-lasting friendships that I made. Literally just seeing another way of teaching, maybe learning the local language if you're trying to learn, I don't know, Spanish, going to Argentina, that helped, or traveling around. It's a great opportunity to see the surroundings as well. So there are a lot of learnings. I would really encourage you to do an exchange, and if I could go back and choose between an exchange or an internship, I would probably still choose an exchange, if COVID had allowed. It's one of my regrets during IBA that I didn't do an exchange, but it was not up to me, obviously. We were all suffering from COVID in a way or another.
Do you need to, like now working, does Dutch, or do you know Dutch, does that help you with your job or any way?
So I think it depends on the market you operate. I do a lot of cold calling outside even of Europe, also Europe, but like Latin America, US. So a lot of different markets, and obviously they don't speak Dutch, but most of my colleagues are Dutch, and they do speak Dutch in the office sometimes, which I do understand Dutch, but it's a bit harder for me to work, especially business language. So sometimes I do feel a bit left out if they don't switch to English, but when it's really important, they switch to English. But I do think, as I said in the beginning, that really helps you integrate. But it also depends on what job you do. If you work more with Dutch people, if you work in recruitment, I looked for some jobs in recruitment, a lot of them require Dutch. So it's again, just dependent on the job that you do. Yeah. All right, okay, one last question, and then we wrap up.
Great presentation. Thank you. So my question is about the exchange semester. You obviously didn't go, but maybe you know, do you get to choose the universities you want to attend, or is it a lottery? How does it work at RSM?
Well, it's good that it's not a lottery. Otherwise, you would just leave it up to chance. But you do get to rank your universities of choice. So you do get to rank top 10 universities. And maybe they changed the process now, but the process when I was a student, and I think there has still now, they have some element of motivation. But when I was a student, you had to rank them. Grades mattered. You had to have, for most universities, a GPA above 7. For some universities, it was 7.5 or 8. So grades was one thing. Another aspect was your motivation. Why do you want to study at that university? Why do you want to study those courses? How are the courses and the university going to help you in your development further? I remember that I chose mostly sports courses because I really wanted to see what it's like to study sports, and maybe I was thinking about a career in sports later on. So my courses got approved because I had a good motivation for those sports courses. So motivation is really important. Also, what you do during IBA, if you're active, if you have some extracurricular activities, matters. But you have to look into the process now, because I can imagine some things might have changed. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for all the questions. Thank you so much for your participation. If you don't mind sitting just for a second, so I can take a selfie with all of you as a memory. Wait. Amazing. Good luck with your choice, and hope to see you soon.